Good morning, South Louisiana. It's your favorite mayor, Wade Evans, from the great city of Central. Brian's on vacation. I'm going to start by reading a disclaimer, or at least telling you
Oh
one.
my God.
The views expressed this morning do not necessarily reflect Brian Haldane LLC, Brian Haldane Radio, nor Guarantee Broadcasting, or any of the sponsors. We don't want to step on any toes. Good morning. It's a wet one out there. In an effort to make sure I could make it here this morning, I slept on the front porch of Guarantee's
Stop.
mothership this last night, and it's a little moist, if you will. But we want to welcome you this morning. It's exciting. We get to talk about good government. It's my show today, and so we've built it to where we can discuss how we operate our city, but more importantly, how we collaborate with our partners. We want to make sure that we show everybody what government can do. And so, good morning, Breland.
Good morning. Good morning. You did not sleep on the front porch.
No, but I felt like I did. I was here early, and so
Yeah.
I sat and waited. I pressed the button a few times, never got anywhere. But I'm glad you got here. I'm glad we're able to get this show off and get this thing going.
I'll keep you going.
Yeah, I don't know what Brian's doing. I doubt he's awake to hear it, so I'll get his judgment after he gets back on how we did. I'm built for radio. My face is for radio. I was happy I didn't have to go on TV this morning, so I didn't have to shave or put on any makeup. So we look forward to spending the next 3 hours with you and having a good time. We've got some exciting guests. If you're a government nerd, we've got Glenn Ledape from DOTD, our Secretary of DOTD. We've got Senator Rick Edmonds coming in via phone to talk about legislation, the maps, and his future plans. We've got my buddy Wyatt Graves, who is a leadership guru and all-around good person, coming on. We've got Dave Freneau from the Sullivan Theater, a little jewel in Central. We love the arts, and we like to promote the arts. And then we're going to finish out the show with Paul Sawyer, one of my favorite people in all the world, one of the most beautiful dressers as well. But Paul is the executive director of the Amite River Basin Commission. I, as mayor of Central, sit on the Amite River Basin Commission board. And we have made dramatic shifts in the mission of the ARBC. And so we're excited to talk to Paul and hear about the legislation that benefits the ARBC, which will help flood control throughout our whole region. And so, all in all, we've got a good day planned. And so I look
I'm
forward to it.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Well, I've never done a whole show. And so, look, not everybody likes me, but not everybody likes Chick-fil-A as well. So, if it's not your cup of tea, come back tomorrow. We'll have somebody else.
When people shout from the rooftops when they're saying, people like me, I'm a likable guy or a woman, I'm sitting there thinking, because not everybody's going to like, and that's okay.
Yeah, look, I learned a long time ago that you can go to the bake sale at the church and somebody's going to say that the cake is just too sweet. They're going to complain, and that's just the nature of the beast. But look, I'm sitting here happy this morning, having a cup of coffee out of my Salad Station salad cup. It works great. It's waterproof as well.
I think it's for soup.
Yeah, so we're thankful for a Foodie Friday. They left some extra cups. But all in all, look, we're going to rock and roll. I want to start just by letting you know my vision for the great city of Central has always been to collaborate with our partners. And when I first got elected, I met with DOTD, and I explained to them that our mission in Central was to do work and get projects done and do intentional government. What we know is that people don't care about government if government's doing its job. And the best government is a government you don't know is existing. And so in Central, we exist on just a simple sales tax. We don't levy a property tax millage, and we've been able to get a lot of stuff done by working with our partners. And so our first segment will go into Glenn Ledape, and we'll talk about that collaboration. We'll talk about some changes that DOTD has made to project delivery. And the main thing is intentionality. Our citizens, most of our citizens, I don't want to speak for all of them, will tell you that our service delivery has changed dramatically, and it happened because we rebuilt how we deliver that service. We look at it as our job. And if we get a call from Miss Smith, that's unfortunate. I don't want. Think about the old days where we had to get a phone number and find get somebody. And right now you hear it if somebody calls 311, they fuss. We don't want you to have to call us. We've got 40 people riding around the city all day doing work, and we want them to see problems and put them in. So being intentional is what's changed the game in Central, and hopefully we can work to create intentionality across all government agencies, and that requires a shift in mindset. And so we're going to go in. We got some live reads. Brian is calling in remote to do some live reads, and so we're going to get started with that, and then we'll come right back to talk about more good government.
Is it time for your IT to do a 180? Check out 180pros.com. And when we're talking about IT, here's what we're really talking about here. Protecting your network. You, as a small business owner, how protected are you? We've seen headlines recently. There are breaches from time to time. It happens to the best of them out there. But the difference is having an IT partner as opposed to an IT provider. Something happens with your IT provider, they say, yeah, we'll get to it. But with 180 Pros, when you have an IT partner, their success is based off of your success, and they're right here locally. Say your network goes down. They're on Sherwood. If they have to physically come out to your property, you don't want somebody haul it in from New Orleans or Lafayette. I mean, think about that. Traffic jam on I-10 and your network's down? Oh, you're just bleeding money at that point. So, small business owners, give it a look. Invest in an IT partner as opposed to an IT provider. Learn more at 180pros.com. Call them locally at 330-2200, 180pros.com.
All right, man. I can't believe the Advocate's even awake right now. But hey, that's good. I think I'm going on their podcast tomorrow to share some real news on a fake platform. My buddy Dave.
Real news. Hi, Advocate. Hi, Dave.
Dave called me. He was in Central. And he called me and said there was a group of ladies playing mahjong at the CC's, and they looked like they could be angry.
Oh, I love mahjong. It can get brutal.
Yeah, I told him I was the whisperer. I showed up, and they were a pretty mild bunch, but had a good conversation with Dave in the great city of Central on Friday. I'm excited for the stuff he's doing, not just with the Advocate. Look, the Advocate's a trip. I mean, it amazes me how many people read that and believe it's real.
Oh, I know. And they'll say, really, that happened? No, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, no, it's the good stuff. That voice sounds familiar. On live? I mean, yeah. All right, I'm good. I'm going to talk about our hybrid model for policing. And,
go into details about what you're doing for Central.
Yeah, I will.
Shit, we should call Dave and get Advocate on there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think I'm booked tomorrow.
Almost back in.
All right, good morning, Baton Rouge. Back at you with Wade Evans, the mayor of Central. we're going to start this one out by talking about some of the collaborative things we're doing. One of the big differences in Central is we do not have a bunch of government employees. Everything we do is through contractors. And so while we manage a $30 million budget and do a whole lot of work, we only do it with 5 employees. That's a police chief, his assistant, myself, my CAO, and we have a public information officer that handles all the social media because I don't have time.
Wow, 5 employees. Has it always been like that, Mayor?
Yeah, we have started, Central started out to be unlike any other, and St. George is following our lead. Now, the really unique thing is with policing, and St. George went with a company called OSS to write all traffic accidents, and I would love to see the mayor-president work with us and the sheriff on OSS to go parish-wide because we spend a lot of money on overtime for police officers and other agencies to just do law enforcement stuff. And writing wrecks is one of those things where we supplement the insurance companies basically to provide them a crash report. That's the only reason that we have to write accidents. And so St. George has done a really good job by getting OSS. We had interviewed with OSS 2 years ago, and it just didn't make sense financially. We didn't have the volume of wrecks, but parish-wide we do, and we could save a substantial amount of money by partnering. And so that collaboration, again, it helps to deliver good service. OSS has same-day accident reports, which is tremendous, and so we don't have to rely on our officers to get in their downtime to write accident reports. But in Central, we have had a part-time police department for our whole existence. It started with just a chief, and then slowly it's grown. And what has happened is there's the vision. Obviously, police chiefs want a full-time department. They want, full control of everything, and I can understand that. The only problem with that is it takes money. And money, do you take that money away from roads? Do you take it away from digging ditches? I think you have to look at the data, the crime stats. You have to look at the accident numbers and decide what's best. In Central, we've gone through this FLEC committee, the Future of Law Enforcement in the City of Central, and we've determined, based on the recommendation of the council as well as the input from the committee, that we're going to continue to go with a hybrid model, which is where we partner with the sheriff's office to provide law enforcement for our citizens. And, I was concerned, Fabian Blanche, who's the executive director of the Police Chiefs Association, he had came to one of our meetings, and I was concerned because there's a lot of AG's opinions and thoughts on funding for police departments and how that's handled. But what we know is there are over 300 municipalities in the state that are struggling. They're struggling to keep their full-time police departments going, and it's become just a burden on the taxpayers. And really what we need to do is make sure we provide adequate and sufficient law enforcement. So in Central, we've taken an innovative approach to do a hybrid model, and it looks like it could be something that takes hold in other areas because we have finite resources. Government's biggest problem is they always say, let's go get more taxes instead of tightening their belts. And one of the things we believe is we don't need to push the citizens to pay more if we can do a better job of providing the service. And it doesn't necessarily matter who wears the shirt. One of the things in Central is we contract all public services out. So our public works crews, they may all look the same because they wear Central shirts. However, they all work for different companies. And we have multiple contractors working at one time, so we're able to get a lot more done and get more bang for our buck, if you will. And the same thing goes with the policing. The sheriff has, I'm not going to say unlimited resources, but they have everything that they need. They've been tending to the unincorporated areas of the parish. They go into other areas of the parish to help and assist. So why not make it official and say, look, we're all going to work together because we're all doing the same thing. So if we collaborate, we start to get rid of those shortages that we see in officer numbers when we can augment that staff. And so that is the goal of government: deliver the services, deliver the results. And we're going to go into a live read now.
Don't forget, going on at talk1073.com. This year, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday, and we want you to be a part of it. Tell us what America means to you. You can open up the Talk 1073 app, powered by Lake Urgent Care. Click the microphone icon at the bottom. Send us a voicemail answering one simple question. What does America mean to you? Your story could inspire others and be featured on air as we honor this historic milestone together. Keep it short. You don't have to drown it out. It can be about 15, 20 seconds. It can be funny. It can be relatable. It could be anything about your grandchildren. You tell us. Give us your name, where you're from. Send us your audio today and let your voice be a part of the celebration. Talk1073.com. Submit yours now.
So when you do this, that means you're ready to go for a live readout.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh, so we're ahead now?
We're on time. I filled it, if that makes sense. Since you got out early, I filled it with a promo.
All right, yeah, I was thinking when you said this, that means Brian's live read.
Because what I'm going to do...
We got DOTD in the house.
Hello!
I mean, so I got him till 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
30 to 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is he here?
Not yet.
I love that he sent a warning shot there.
I know, right? Like a big old bright yellow.
I love it.
I
That's
like
the
to
official
see it.
DOTD outfit.
I
Where's
like
the
to
car? Oh,
see
there
it.
it is.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Good morning.
How are you doing? You sound great. You sound great.
Well, good.
I was listening to you on the way
I
in.
feel like I sound, Clarence Bug always sounded like he had this, drag, like he had a fat tongue.
No, you sound great.
Okay.
I would tell you.
Yeah.
Like, look, you sound like shit.
Yeah.
You don't. You sound like a pro, man.
Well, I don't get paid for it, so I'm still amateur.
Right. He just does it for free. I know.
Yeah. That's all right, though. Me and my salad station soup
I know.
cup.
I could have got my man a coffee mug, but...
Well, I mean, we gave salad station a free plug.
There you go.
Right? No, this is 2. This is 1 minute.
All right.
And when we get close, I'm going to say 30.
All right.
And then...
All right. Well, I won't say we're going to do a live read again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just talk.
Just cut and just say,
Right. We'll be right back. All right. It's the 24th.
and we're the 180 Pros studio. You need me to give you a sticky note?
What is it?
180 Pros studio. Open up your mic when you say Talk 1073. Mornings when I'm Brian Haldane. I'm making
Yeah.
introduce yourself
Yeah.
every break, and then say we are live inside the 180 Pro studio.
All right.
Let me do a live read real fast.
All right.
And then I'll come back to you.
Secretary Ledette.
Since 1897, Landmark Bank has been a community bank. Think about that. That's half of our nation's lifetime. As we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, for half that time, Landmark Bank has remained true to their mission of being a community bank. And when you have a community bank, you've got a banker. When you get a community bank, you've got someone you could trust, someone you could shake hands with, someone you could look in the eye, sit down with, and map out your future. And they're going to get it because, well, your future is in their backyard as well. They're in your backyard, you're in their backyard. It's part of being a community. So whether you're talking about personal banking, whether you're talking about business banking, whether you're talking about borrowing or saving long-term, whether you're talking about your kid's first checking account or managing your small business, Landmark Bank has got you covered. Hit up landmarkbankla.com, hit the About Us tab, little drop-down menu right there, find the locations. If there's a Landmark Bank in your community, you want to be part of their community. landmarkbankla.com.
All right, good morning. We're at the 180 Pros studio and mornings without Brian Haldane. Here you got Wade Evans, the mayor of Central, in studio. We're going to continue on with good government. We've got Secretary of DOTD, Glenn Ledet, coming up. But, back to the collaborations. When I first got elected, I was kind of crass with DOTD, and fortunately it was a different secretary at that time. But I told him, look, in Central, we have an approval of about 90%. And if I look at DOTDs, there's probably at 5%. And so if we work together, we can all look better. And so we've been very fortunate in our partnerships, and DOTD has been very amenable to the mindset of working together. We're hoping to go into some details and opportunities this morning with the secretary. He's going to share some updates on the task force for delivering projects and legislation changes. One of the problems with government is there's so many rules that you end up with a very dilatory and perfunctory process of slowing stuff down. And it's almost, what began as a process of protecting taxpayer dollars has become more about spending money, fighting graft and corruption, when we're spending more on protecting than we ever did on what we lost to that corruption. And so it'd be an ideal world where we could look at municipalities and even contractors who, we grade them on a system, and when they prove that they're capable and worthy, they have less of the roadblocks in the way. And so hopefully we'll be able to get into that and have some good conversation. The other thing is working with the parish. The parish government here, Mayor Edwards and his team, they know that in Central we have a revenue share. It's in our budget. When I got elected, I asked what the money was for, and the ordinance actually says for the municipality to do work on parish right-of-ways and assets in our community. And for 17 years we heard, well, that's not our problem. Excuse me. We heard that's not our problem. That's the parish. And look, I look at it as if it's inside of our city lines, it's my problem. And either we can work together to fix it, or I'm going to fix it anyway, because it's my citizens who are affected. And the parish has bought in, DOTD has bought in by and large, and it's really exciting to see the progress. Sullivan Road is a project that should be in textbooks on how not to do a project. When I got elected, there were 3 right-of-ways that were privately owned and 2 that were publicly owned that had to be acquired. We're 13 years into a project, and we still have right-of-way to acquire, which is mind-blowing to me. One of the problems is one of the contractors along the lines did not follow the construction scope when they put their lines in, and they ended up putting their lines where sewer had to go. And so just a litany of problems, and our goal is to, we know we're going to have problems. How do we address those problems before they become problems? How do we anticipate problems? And we use a project management team. We vet everything through owner's reps, and we have eyes and ears on every project. And we've been fortunate in 3.5 years. Every project that we've undertaken as a city has come in under budget and on time. It starts with a good design team, and it follows up with, good scoping, good bidding, and then good project follow through and accountability, which is something that we're dealing with. I'm the vice chair of the Brett Commission, and we've got a history of delivering projects that, don't necessarily meet what I would consider efficient project management. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just telling you that's what I've seen. That's what I've witnessed. And so my job on that commission is to help fix that. Brett has a millage coming up, which is our maintenance millage. I will not advocate for or against. I will just say that if it doesn't pass, it's going to require us to lay more people off and tighten our belt, which, look, if that's what the public wants us to do, we're going to do it. We're going to do what we got to do to make sure that the park system stays moving forward. If it means that the municipalities have to partner with the park system to almost create a type of conservancy in their areas, we're going to do that. We're going to continue to make sure that Breck delivers the best product at the best service and best price. We've made substantial changes in park ops, and so I'm excited about what's happening. I've been on that commission now for 8 months, and we've already made substantial changes in the delivery of those services.
Mayor, I was going to ask you, when you took office in 2018, we are coming up on the, gosh, I can't believe it's going to be 10 years since the flood of 2016.
Yeah.
You were coming in where recovery efforts were still very much needed. So looking back, can you give me a snapshot of your early months in office handling that?
So when I came in, I was on the council. I was the mayor pro tem of the city council. And, you know, one of the reasons I feel like we were elected overwhelmingly was because so many of our citizens were still not in their homes. And the government was going to build a city hall. And it was just, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing to have a city hall. It was just a bad thing to have right now, you know, in that time when you got 40% of your people still not in their homes.
Right.
And so, you know, we held off on the city hall and, you know, that's what pushed me into getting into government. I helped put over 200 homes back together in Central, and I just felt like the government wasn't listening to the people. And so I ran, and here we are.
Here we are.
I'm doing Talk Without Brian Haldane.
Oh, my gosh.
So we'll be right back. All right, Mr. Secretary. Hey, that works great. It works great. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir? Man, look, I appreciate our relationship.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't write down because my thing was in my truck. That's what I said. My God. All right. All right. You got. Does he have headphones or no?
No, but he can hear you because
All right.
it echoes on the.
All right. So 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
And look, if we end up with a little extra, I'm going to ask you about Blackwater Road and share an idea.
Okay.
And my idea is Blackwater Road is a project that's been in DOTD's books. It's $9.8 million.
Yeah.
But we don't have the funding. And so
Right.
my thought is how do we work together and let me do the project?
Yeah.
And then over time, even if it's 10 years,
Yeah.
you give me my money back.
Yeah.
I take the road, I take the future maintenance, we improve it, and
Yeah.
then I get almost like an annuitized return on my money from
Right.
DOTD.
Okay.
So just
Sort of like a modified road transfer type project.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but not credits per se.
Yeah.
But
Well, that will give me a good plug to maybe talk about our state infrastructure bank.
well,
So,
that's
yeah.
I mean, look,
That sounds like that would fit perfectly.
yeah, I would love to take all
Yeah.
DOTD routes in Central. I mean, I'm cutting the
Yeah.
grass on them anyway,
Right.
and I'm not getting
Yeah.
reimbursed, but just
Yeah.
a pittance.
You got a good lineup?
Yeah, I got you, and I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we had enough time, so I
Yeah.
got you for 2 segments.
Yeah.
I've got Senator Edmonds calling in.
Oh, good. Yeah.
To talk about
Very good.
the maps and,
Yeah.
give him an opportunity to
Right. Yep.
just talk about his campaign.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Yeah, no doubt.
Then we've got the Sullivan Theater, Dave Furneaux. We've got a little theater in Central. We're going to talk about the arts. My buddy Wyatt Graves, who's a leadership guy.
Yeah.
He's coming on. And then
Good.
Paul Sawyer,
Oh, Paul.
because I'm on a bunch
Yeah.
of boards, and the ARBC's
We
one
know
of them.
Paul's on the House Transportation Committee.
Yes.
So, yeah. So,
Yeah, no, I love
yeah,
it.
Good guy.
No,
Yeah.
I think, look, Paul's amazing.
Yep.
Paul's amazing.
Yep. Good.
And I've never done this.
Is that right? Okay.
Never hosted
I
a
got you.
radio show. Yeah. So she's going to point to us, and then
Okay.
I'll start talking, and I'll
Okay.
bring you in.
Good deal. Yeah, I was on last year, I believe. Dixon guest hosted.
Yeah.
So I did that I just called in for a few minutes.
Dixon's, look, he's all over the place, too. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the guy. I mean, he's,
Yeah.
you know, he's a new legislator.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a bull in a china
Oh yeah,
cabinet.
he's energetic.
And you know it. One of my best working relationships at the Capitol is with Denise Marcel. And
Okay.
politically, we totally don't agree, but we understand the way to get there is to pull on the same end of the rope. Yeah, me and Denise don't agree on anything politically, but we
That's
work
right.
together well.
That's good.
Dr. Mike Strain.
Oh wait. My wife just texted. She says she knows you from boot camp. Yeah.
Oh my God! Wait, who's your wife?
Adrian. Yeah,
Yes,
Lede.
yes,
Yeah.
baby boot
Yeah,
camp.
baby boot camp.
Boot
Yeah.
camp. I'll work out with the baby in the
Yeah,
stroller.
that's right.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I know Adrian.
That's the barrel-chested beauty himself doing a live read over there. Old Gordon.
Gordy Rush. I'm gonna do Brian's live reads. I'm gonna come.
All right. So we got a roundabout and a complete. Look, I'll tell you, this is one of my frustrations. The Sullivan Road project. We could have saved $1.3 million on that project if we would have.
Haldane here. I want to remind you about the folks over at Mathurns. I love how with Mathurns, I can map it out by the season, right? All football season long, all basketball season long, all baseball season long. Love telling you about the Mathurns on campus because they're the best for tailgating. They're right there across the street from Tiger Stadium in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. Love telling you during the legislative session, if you're making your way downtown, want to stop off for a great lunch or, knock out your groceries if you work downtown, you got Mathurns right there on 3rd Street. Well, all grilling season long, I want to send you out to Mathurns at Kenilworth because they've got some of the best cuts of meat around. And in the back of the store, they've got Hebert specialty meats. These are Louisiana products, and they are phenomenal. When you're firing up the grill this summer, don't just go burgers and dogs. Get a little fancy. Get into it. Bring on something that your family is going to absolutely love. Bring on something that's going to impress your friends. Hit up some Hebert specialty meats. You'll find them at the Mathurns at Kenilworth.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is Mayor Wade Evans from the 180 Pros studio with Mornings Without Brian Haldane. We've got, coming into this segment, we got Secretary of DOTD, Glenn Ledette. Glenn Lede. I've always struggled with that. Is it Ledette or Lede?
Lede.
Lede. See, that's the way I wanted
Down
to
from
say
Thibodeau.
it. Yeah. When I first heard it, I'm like, he doesn't know how to say his name if he says Ledette. But no, look, we got Secretary of DOTD Glenn Lede this morning, and we got some really innovative things happening, and I just wanted to open it up and let him share, give him a chance to make an intro, and then we'll go into a few questions. So good morning, Secretary.
Good morning. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Wade.
Yes, no, we're happy to have you here. Central and DOTD have been working together. We've got some projects that's been going on a long time, and so, your predecessor and I met, and I, convinced them to, hey, give us some latitude on some of this stuff, and that latitude has been very successful, and I look forward to continuing that. But there's some changes, some legislation this year. You had a project delivery task force. Can you tell us what's coming out?
Yeah, so we are undergoing a top-to-bottom transformation at DOTD. So when Governor Landry came in, knowing that as you started your segment, we've got to make some changes at DOT to really deliver projects for the people across the state. And so we have been undergoing that transformation. It has been really fantastic. And so, a lot of things that people don't know. This year alone, we delivered $1.8 billion of infrastructure.
Wow,
so
that's good.
For the first time ever, we're really focusing on how do we make project delivery efficient and effective. As we came into office, we were delivering less than half of our program every year. And so those are projects we would talk about, try to figure out. Complexities would pop up, challenges would pop up, and that would not allow us to put those projects on the ground and start construction. And so our job is to try to figure out how do we remove those hurdles from our team, our contractors, our staff. And so that's what we're doing. And so the transformation that we see, the modernization, is really how do we remove that red tape, how do we remove those hurdles, and actually deliver projects on the ground.
Yeah, my goal in Central has always been, look, let me take lead. You know, I can do the work. I'm on the ground. We're efficient. We've got a track record, and so, you know, my thought was always, how do we work together? How do you unleash me to do the work as your partner, and that way, you know, we move past. I know there are federal guidelines as it relates to federal money. God knows the procurement process, the federally compliant procurement. You've got, you know, if we could create a bank of federally procured consultants, which I know some of us have, it would make it a lot easier. The NEPA guidelines as it relates to widening a road is such a nightmare. I mean, if we could get rid of the red tape and not waste so much money on some of that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So, you know, I can go into the different aspects of the transformation, but those are some of the things that we're doing. So this year in our legislative session, we passed legislation to be able to take on the NEPA responsibilities from the Fed. So what does that mean for the general public? It allows us to control our destiny as it relates to those efforts. And so we can dedicate the resources that we need to deliver projects on the time scale that we want and not rely on federal highway, which has been a problem for a very long time. And so, as an example, we broke ground on our biggest infrastructure project in the state's history. That was the Calcasieu Bridge, almost $2.5 billion of widening, as well as the new bridge. That NEPA, that environmental impact statement, took over 25 years to deliver. And so we know that can't happen anymore. And so this legislation allows us to take on those responsibilities. And so we'll start that process this year. And so those are all of the types of things that we're doing that the public really doesn't see each and every day, but it actually ends, they'll see the result of that in years to come.
I think one of the ways we could raise money is that bridge, the I-10 bridge that looks like it goes straight up. If we would we could auction off the pistols
That's right.
that are in the railing, and we could probably raise $1 million. And now that's just a drop in the bucket to the cost of that bridge.
That's
but,
right.
You know, that's one of the things that, you know, we look at a project, we cost it out, but it sits, and by no fault of anybody, it sits, and obviously the time value of money. And the opportunity cost associated with waiting, what we find is that every project costs, you know, exponentially more than when it was previously designed, if you will.
Exactly.
You know, the Transportation Task Force was created to identify ways to improve efficiency and accountability. It sounds like the NEPA thing itself is going to be tremendous. Are there other things that were recommended that have already been implemented?
Yes. So top to bottom, the first thing is we're trying to actually do a better job of prioritizing projects, and as you mentioned, understanding our funding stream and making sure that those projects get delivered on time. We have a new project management process that allows our team to really stay focused on maximizing our dollars each and every year. And then in addition to that, we're enhancing what we do at the department with contract support. And so we passed new legislation this year to allow us to bring on private contractors to do more construction, more maintenance, more operation work. So our districts are spread extremely thin. On the bridge side, we've got a multi-year backlog. And so now we're able to bring in contractors, have, as you mentioned, lists of contractors that are pre-approved so we can get task orders out to them immediately so we can focus on delivering in real time as these issues pop up.
You know, one of the things we deal with, obviously, bridges, and we have a lot of what you would call off-system bridges. And, you know, DOTD does all the bridge inspections every 2 years on a cycle. And one of the things that's frustrated me is there are new technologies to repairing pylons and fixing columns, but because it's not a recognized DOTD-approved method, the bridge doesn't, even though it may be sound, we can't get approval. We can't get the permit, if you will, to say, no, the bridge is good. And so I would love to see us work towards, you know, looking at innovative ways. Look, one of the things we do is we use a product called rock asphalt. They're out of West Texas, and it's limestone that's 100% infused with bitumen from the earth. And so they crush it up. We bring it in big totes. And we do, when we fix a pothole in Central, it is a pretty much semi-permanent repair because it's not a cold mix. It's not even a hot mix. It's a natural product that when you compact it, it just keeps getting harder.
Right.
And so it's cost more to buy. However, the callbacks and, you can look at the numbers. If you go back and fix a pothole 5 times versus fixing it right the first time, you've spent the same amount of money. And so I don't know if it's possible and what it would take to get DOTD to become more innovative with our repair process that allows the municipalities to come in and do some of that work with new technologies.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So we have, we talked about the project delivery side, some of the things that we're doing there. We also have a new Office of Transformation that's incorporating innovation and technology into our Louisiana Transportation Research Center and some of the things that you mentioned on day-to-day operations. And so that's all being incorporated and certainly open to that. And we've got, I think, really top-to-bottom transformation across the department. So certainly some of the things are going to happen.
That's exciting stuff. Look, we're gonna go to break here shortly, and we'll come back with Secretary Glenn Leday from DOTD. We're going to discuss more innovative things they're doing. So we want to continue this process. I'm sorry, I was a little off. Look, I've never hosted a radio show, so I'm watching Bree Lynn's fingers, and I don't really know sign language either. So I got 30 seconds. So we'll come back in, but DOTD is responsible for thousands of miles of roads in the state, and so we'll talk about timelines. How do you do that? And when we get back from the break, thank you.
Yeah.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. Who needs one bath and closets? This is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. Listen, if you didn't build your home, your bathroom wasn't built for you. If you didn't build your home, your closets weren't built for you. Think about the number of houses in Baton Rouge that are 30-plus years old, 40-plus years old, 50-plus years old. Christy and I, our house was built in 1964. Late last year, we decided to upgrade our master bathroom. That's a Christmas present to each other. And I tell you what, we called David Duvall at 400-8005. We called David Duvall and called on his 30-plus years of experience. Said, what can you do in this space? He worked with us. He collaborated with us. He showed us what was possible. We went to onebathandclosets.com. We scrolled through the galleries, and the finished product was chef's kiss. Magnificent. Perfection. Could not be happier with the way our bathroom came out. And you could be in that same boat. If you didn't build your house wasn't built for you. You could change that at onebathandclosets.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
If we get into, we'll get into 9 as well.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get into 11 for the locals.
That's right. Yeah.
How they can.
Correct. Yeah.
Because look, I have a great relationship with our district. Josh and Desmond, I butt heads with them. But
yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's how we
healthy.
all hold each other accountable.
That's good. Yeah, maybe I can start and talk about some of the things. I wanted to talk about our new project dashboard that allows transparency.
I want you to run with whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have to talk at all.
Okay, no,
it's your segment. I mean, if I find a law.
Yep.
If I find a lull, I'll. But.
Yep. Good.
And then we'll close out. Next time she goes.
Yeah.
The interview's gonna be on demand. At
okay. Good. Good deal.
After the show.
Okay.
The whole show's on Facebook. Actually, if you tune in right now, they can see y'all. We're still on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live.
So y'all can curse. Y'all can say shit, damn. Say all that.
I don't want to get out of character, Bree Lynn. I'm such. Look, I woke up a sinner, but I have. I thought about should I read the gospel for today? I mean, it's such a prophetic. Well, look, that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a great Catholic, but I'm a decent Catholic.
Hey, so look, Brian Haldane falls asleep in adoration, so you good.
Well, if you're going to fall asleep in
Adoration.
church, adoration is where you want to do it. Jesus is present.
I know we clown Brian all the time, and he's like, but at least I showed up to church. And he goes, you know how many people don't show up to church?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I read the Mass every day. And I started that Ash Wednesday of 22. And I've been reading the Mass every day since. And the Catholic liturgy takes you on a 3-year cycle where you go through the Bible.
Somebody was, because I have a friend, I'm non-denominational, but she's a real, like, hardcore Catholic, and she was telling me that.
Well, Catholics are, they're not, Catholics are really, you're just hardcore original Christians.
Yeah, I know.
That's all it
I
is.
know.
It's
and
funny.
Everything's, what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline. Everything's like.
Well, it's all right out of the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, the two segments of the Mass, you got the Mass of the liturgy, you know, the first part, then the Eucharist, which is the celebration of the Last Supper.
Not back yet. We got to get to the syndicated piece.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the only thing that gets me about the non-denominational church is they're like, you can't drink. I'm like, because really non-denominational,
yeah.
they don't like us drinking. It's frowned upon. I'm like, Jesus drank though. So, I mean, he didn't get drunk, but.
Look, I drank and got drunk many a day. And I quit drinking August 4th of 22.
Good for you,
Yeah,
man.
God took that from it off.
Okay.
But and I used to have to drink before I'd go speak.
Just so you weren't nervous.
Yeah. And now I have confidence. It's
You don't
wild.
feel
Oh,
like
wow.
you slurred? Like when you would drink before you speak?
Well, I wouldn't get that drink. I wouldn't
Yeah.
drink that much.
You would
Yeah.
just have a drink.
I'd have a shot or
Just
two,
a-
or I'd need a Xanax. I used to have anxiety real bad. Now I just pray. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's wild.
22 was a big year for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
22 was huge.
The
Wow.
Lord can take that from you, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I gave it all to him on May 7th.
Wow.
May 7th of 22, I hit my knees in the parking lot of my cabinet shop.
Wow.
I said, God, I don't want to live like this anymore. Either take over my life or take me home now. I don't want to live.
Wow.
And something happened, and like something changed.
That's a testament. You got to go in church saying that.
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
tell everyone, go
I'm
to
actually leading a men's group tonight. We did one last month, and 5 men gave their life to Christ.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
church.
So
It's
that's
too early for all
at
this.
6 o'clock. I'm leading fourth quarter men's group. It's
Wow.
something I started doing. I've got a nonprofit. And
Yeah. Leader.
you know,
Aw.
Very good.
I give this church. It's a non-denominational church. I give them a little bit of money for my nonprofit, and
Yeah.
they host these things, and I go pray and share my testimony.
We're about to come back in.
Yeah, that's the real me.
I'm going to do a live read real fast.
All right.
If I can pull up my shit.
Oh, look, it's right here. I don't need to read it. On the 180 Pros microphone over here, baby.
Talk 1073 WBRP. I am Bree Lynn. Don't forget the mic is yours during the Breck Room. We just had a great conversation with Breck yesterday, what they are doing. They had a community forum last night in Baker. Also, the ribbon cuttings, everything, all the great things that have been going on with Breck. Well, with the election and with Breck being on the ballot, early voting is happening right now, so you can get out and early vote. The election is June 27th. If you have a question for Breck, every Monday morning after 8:30 on Mornings with Brian Haldane, got questions about your parks, your trails, your recreation, public spaces, submit your question now on the Talk 1073 app by tapping the message icon next to the microphone button. It's on our app. Go ahead and ask the question. The Brett team on Mondays may be answering your question next. We have Mayor Wade Evans in this morning for Mornings with Brian Haldane.
Yeah, Mayor Wade Evans here from the 180 Pros studio. Mornings without Brian Haldane is what we're going with, at least for the next 2.5 hours. And so coming back to Secretary Glenn Leday from DOTD, we're going to go right back into where we were. He was sharing some new things that DOTD is doing, and I'm going to let him have it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Wade. Yeah, we were talking about some of the project delivery aspects of the transformation, but, communication and transparency to the public is obviously critical. We want to make sure they know what's going on. And so some of the things that we're doing, the first is you can go on our website. We now have a project delivery dashboard. And so you can see the projects that are being constructed across the state live. It is updated each and every night. as our crews come in from inspecting all of those projects, all of that information is updated. Every project across the state that's in construction or being open to traffic is really in that site. And so it's a good opportunity for not only elected officials, but the parishes, our communities, and the public, the general public, to see all of the work that's being planned and in construction. Beyond that, making sure that we are accountable is another obviously critical aspect of the program. And so something that we're launching next week is a key performance indicator dashboard. And so KPIs, as a lot of people know, making sure that all of the different critical parts of our program, when we look at roads, all of the roads that are in good, fair, and poor condition, all of that will be available in our key KPI dashboard. And so we'll have an external dashboard for the public. We have internal KPIs where we're measuring our staff and our contractors to make sure they are effectively and efficiently utilizing tax dollars. And so that's something that we haven't had in the past, and it's obviously critical to make sure that the public knows that we are looking at those KPIs each and every day.
Yeah, look, the KPIs are tremendous because we know one of the things we have found is our cost per mile in Central has gone down, but because we've been consistent for the last 3 years in the projects, and our quantities are good and everything going into it. One of the things that I want to ask about is, plan review. So the state licenses engineers, and these licensed engineers design the plans and stamp them. And sometimes it goes into plan review, and a project can grow legs and maybe die, if you will, because of plan review. And I'm wondering, is it so necessary that every project be reviewed, or is our licensing process good enough to where we rethink that, or is it a federal requirement that a DOT engineer plan reviews everything that federal money's on?
Yeah, so we're obligated to review it as part of our federal agreement with the Federal Highway Administration. But to your point, the new project delivery process that we are developing will allow us to make sure that in the concept stage, we're reviewing the concept, and that we're doing it at the appropriate time and making sure it's efficient, that we've got the right milestones for the right type of project, instead of really, I guess, having a cumbersome process that delays projects. And so while we get roughly $1 billion, 900 million from the feds each and every year for our program, and so we're obligated to do that review, but we've got to do it in an efficient manner. And so that's that project delivery, project management process that we have established in this transformation. That's what that will do.
Yeah, it's look, the federal process can be, again, it creates so much redundancy, if you will. And so the good thing is, back to the collaborative effort, if everybody works together when their lines cross, as we travel this path of getting work done, I find that everybody does a better job because we multiply our resources instead of keeping it in silos.
Exactly. And look, for the general public, they're not worried about the project management process. That's my job, right? But what we're doing is, as we're talking about a project, we're making sure that it gets delivered in 2 years instead of 10. Right, if it's a complex job, if it's a simple repair, it gets done in a few weeks or a month, right? And so that we're not talking about the same process for a decade in terms of Calcasieu for almost 3 decades.
Yeah, that
will not happen anymore, and that's the general purpose of the transformation. And so, like I said, this past year we initiated construction on $1.8 billion in infrastructure. We expect to do that again. Historically, it was less than half that, and so. The message that we're sending out to the public is that each and every year we're going to go out to the public in a roadshow in October. We're going to tell them what we're delivering, and we're going to make sure that we are fulfilling that commitment.
Yeah, we participated in the roadshow the last few years, and one of the things that you have to deal with that many people feel when they're driving is the maintenance part of it.
Yeah,
and so balancing the capital expenditures for new projects and maintenance has got to be a cumbersome process for your office. Is there a percentage that you, in your mind, that you try to spend on maintenance and per district? I always said, look, if DOTD would just let us do everything locally, and let the municipalities that can do it, that would take that off of your plate. Maintenance is a big issue.
Yeah. No, so we get roughly $900 million a year for operation and maintenance, but to your point, we have 17,000 miles of road, so we have to spread it across the entire state. I think when we look at ways to collaborate, as you kind of opened the show, is making sure that we have those agreements with local entities to allow that to happen. But also what we've had is, as we've done this transformation, we've gotten the trust from the legislature. So they're giving us additional dollars now each and every year over the last 2 years to make sure that we're investing appropriately in additional operation and maintenance. And so I think what we're going to see as we go forward now is the operation and maintenance of our roadways will be kept up to the standard that we need it to be. And so that investment that we're talking about, $70 million a year, in addition to what we already do, will be critical to your communities.
Secretary Leday, it's always a pleasure. Look, I'm impressed with the work you're doing at DOTD. It's why I wanted to have you on to share some of these new processes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
We timed that one perfect.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
How
about that? I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I mean, it's an election year for me. If I don't get reelected, I'm actually going to make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Since we've got top stories and trending, and we hadn't really been doing that, I'm going to make a joke about my current situation. Yeah, I'm.
When is the reelection?
November.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should
Anything you
be
need?
fine.
Yeah.
We should be fine.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
More innovative things they're doing. And so, coming back to Secretary Glenn.
Sorry, I'm making
Sorry.
sure I don't have a whole lot of editing when we get off the show.
Yeah, I want to make your life easy. I don't want you to go home with your hair all frazzled.
And
Yeah.
sob in my dirty martini.
Yeah, I don't want to make your life rough. All right, so that's it for us.
Thank you, buddy. If
I
you need
appreciate
something,
you.
call
No.
me. Yeah. When you want to come in, we got to
Yeah,
visit again.
I appreciate it.
I
Yeah,
may come
for
see you
sure.
in Central.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
check it out. Look,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a ribbon cutting on Sullivan Road.
Oh,
I'm gonna have a
good.
second line.
Yeah.
That's 50.
So they
good.
want to know before Glenn leaves,
Yeah.
why is DOTD using asphalt overlay on major streets and roads? Your opinion on the quality of the Jefferson Highway project?
Well, I can tell you we use asphalt because it's flexible pavement and it's a lot quieter.
I'm trying to do in front of Jefferson Baptist.
Yeah,
All that road
Jefferson,
work they're doing.
they've been keeping the two lanes open the whole time. So they did the outside lane this way, and now they're doing the.
Flexible pavement over a good base is by far and away the best road surface, in my opinion.
Well, the Jefferson project got off to a slow start because, and I think this will happen to you guys too, when they dug it out, they realized that the base was just
Yeah.
not even work. They had to
Oh, so they had a redo the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and I think on that one, from what I saw, they went in with like 12-inch limestone base.
Yeah.
You know, and limestone don't happen here, so it has to be brought in. Mr. Secretary, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay. See
Bye,
y'all.
Rodney. Bye, Glenn.
All right,
Good to see you now.
It's so good to now you know where to find me.
I do. and
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Senator Edmonds.
enjoy the show more.
Yeah, you should host, Rodney.
All right, call. He said the first number's busy,
Okay.
so I'm gonna tell him to
Worst
call.
case, I'm gonna call him. We've been having phone issues.
You want his number?
Let me. Back on Facebook. Yeah, we've been having phone issues. It depends on what day it is, if it wants to work or not.
Yeah. We got our Facebook crowd. So the question was about the paving on Jefferson, and I tell you that while that's not my project in my area, the issue we have in Louisiana is we build roads on clay and on mud, and so a lot of times we'll use soil cement and lime to create a better base. But many times you've got to fortify that base or remove that mud base because it's just not workable and replace it with aggregate, and typically it's limestone, which doesn't grow naturally here in Louisiana.
We've been having phone issues for months now. It almost feels like. But look, we are in commercial right now, and then when we come back in, Mayor's gonna pick up on his end. Okay. Yep. Go ahead and stay on this line. I'm gonna just drop you on hold. Okay.
All right. Good morning. I'm coming in hot at 7 a.m.
Jennifer Richardson says, "Good morning, Wayne."
Good morning, Miss Jennifer. That's the queen of clean.
Yeah, the queen of clean.
I tell you, if we had more Jennifer Richardsons in this parish, we'd be a better place for sure. You know, people just throw stuff out of their vehicles. It's so frustrating. I know Jennifer and them spend a lot of time cleaning up encampments, if you will, but there's so much trash that people just toss out of their window. And
I saw a full-blown McDonald's bag being thrown out the other day.
we spend close to $500,000 a year in Central cutting grass and picking up litter. But I want you to know when you pull into Central. So we sweep the streets and we pick up the litter. So we're not going to, I'll tell you when to go to Senator Edmonds, I guess.
Okay.
Because I want to have a little fun.
I'm going to do a live read real fast from Brian.
All right.
Then toss it to you.
All right. All right. And then Wyatt's here. So if he comes to the door and presses the button, you can buzz him in.
Yeah. Well, no. Let me know when he comes. Don't press the button because it ain't going to do anything. It's just
All
when I
right.
see him, I'll let him in.
Okay, so you can see it out of the camera.
Neurojust.com, neurojust.com. If you or someone you know in love is battling with anxiety or depression, let me offer you up something new. Neurojust.com is the website. Send you there because you're going to wealth of information when you get there. When you're battling anxiety or depression, you know it's like 6-foot waves crashing around in your head all the time. It's a constant fight or flight, and that's exhausting. And that exhaustion leads you to isolation, and that isolation is just overall loneliness. And therein lies the depression. It all ties in together, and it can be unwound and calm those seas between your ears. Neurojust specializes in TMS therapy. So if you don't like the way the antidepressants make you feel, if the sit-down, talk-it-out therapy doesn't really work for you, think of this as like physical therapy for your brain. And oh, by the way, the team over at Neurojust, they battle to make sure your insurance is picking up the tab. I love telling their story, but I love when they tell their story even more. Visit neurojust.com to learn more. Calm those seas between your ears at neurojust.com.
All right, good morning here from the the 180 Pros Talk 107 studio, 107.3 studio. This is Mornings Without Brian Haldane. You've got me, Mayor Wade Evans from the great city of Central. We've got Senator Rick Edmonds coming up, but before then, what a great thing to see DOTD moving in the right direction. For so many years, government's become complacent, and it's exciting to see government agencies taking the bull by the horns and saying, hey, we got to do a better job. And that's what you see right now with DOTD. Secretary Lede has been very good to work with as a local mayor. And, we're trying to do that with every agency. Let's get back to service delivery. Let's get back to doing our job that we're taking the money from the taxpayers to do. And $900 million, it doesn't go real far when you're talking about 17,000 miles of roads. One of the things we've been discussing all morning is good government. I've got Senator Rick Edmonds coming up. We'll go live to him in just a bit with some legislative changes. Obviously, the congressional maps, which have been a hot topic. We're going to let Senator Edmonds tell us all about that and discuss future plans. Coming up after that, we got Wyatt Graves. I'm excited to talk to Wyatt. Wyatt is an innovative person. He's always so positive. He's always just a pleasure to be around, and so I'm hoping that you'll gather that from him when he's here at the Talk 107.3 studios, sponsored by 180 Pros. We're so happy to be here this morning sharing with you. It's a wet start to your morning. It's going to be 75 right now. It's going to be, look, it feels humid out there. It's somewhat moist when you walk outside. So
just a little moist, some swamp feeling. Yeah,
that's it. A little bit of moisture in the air. And so it's going to be a rough week for rain. Look, but those of us in Central know that good government means we dig ditches and clean culverts. And so we're ready for the weather event. I've got crews out. They're always checking the hot spots. We've got nearly 30 hot spots that our crews check every time we have a significant rain event, because if you don't, you get buildup of sticks and twigs and then leaves and then, God forbid, the litter, because people can't seem to leave their trash in their car until they get to a place where they can throw it in the garbage.
I know.
You know, and if we had 1,000 Jennifer Richardsons, the only thing we'd run out of is trash bags, because she does such a great job, her and her team. I'm so thankful for what they do, and we really need to do that. It would be great if our citizens would just not throw stuff out.
It takes 2 seconds to ride around with a McDonald's bag in your car before you toss it, or a fast food bag. But for whatever reason, people will eat a whole meal and throw a bag out the window.
Yeah. Whole look, full cup. You know, we're done with this drink. They toss it. I mean, it's disgusting. But you know, look, it's people. I always joke and say, if I could fix people, I could take over the world. And really, if we all operated in the kind of love that Jesus commanded, we wouldn't even need government. We wouldn't need lawyers. We wouldn't need police.
You wouldn't have a job, Mayor.
I wouldn't need a job. I'd be productive and do something other than this. But unfortunately, our government was not completely broken, but we had become complacent, and we had become bureaucrat mindset, if you will, in Central. And so when I got elected, we changed all of that and redid how we deliver services, because I do not want you to have to call your government. If you do, we want to be very responsive, be prompt, and sometimes we don't get it right, but we want to get it right most of the time. And that way the people have a faith in their government, and they know that we're doing the work that needs to be done to make their lives better and improve their quality of life. Coming up, we got Senator Rick Edmonds. Is he on the line?
He is on the line. You want me to pull him up?
Yeah, let's pull him up. Good morning, Senator Edmonds. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Mayor?
I'm doing great, and it's so good to have you on the show this morning. You know, one of the things I've always liked about working with you is you believe in good government. That's kind of what this whole show this morning is about, is good government. How do we take resources and apply them where necessary to do the job that the people expect us to do? And so one of the things I want to get you on to talk about is legislation. I know you've introduced and passed some pretty monumental stuff as it relates to flood control and the ARBC, but I wanted you to have a chance to share, you know, what you've done. I wanted to discuss the congressional maps and what you see and you know, your future plans. You've been a very effective legislator for Central, and I appreciate that. But you know, look, who knows where Senator Edmonds is going to be in the future? So just want to give you a chance to talk about that as well.
Well, I appreciate it so much. Look, we had it was a hectic session, super busy, but man, I love doing it. And I think I had one of my most productive. You're talking about efficiencies. And, you know, this is almost the 10th anniversary of our flooding in 2016. And I think you remember back what it was like. And, oh my goodness, I mean, Cindy and I was on the streets providing meals and whatnot for weeks, and just watching people, but you know, standing there praying with them and crying over lost everything. Heck, we had churches that had 5 foot of water in the sanctuaries. We had schools that couldn't reopen in Livingston Parish. I think we know what a monumental catastrophe that was. Well, this particular session, we were able to work with Paul Sawyer. He was talking about legislation and that has the lasting impact. We were able to pass a bill that puts a funding source to the Amite River project that he heads, and the governor just signed it. We did a ceremonial signing last week, and basically that commission's doing a great job of making certain that we mitigate what happened last go around. And I am so proud of the work that's being done. The problem was we just didn't have any kind of funding that we could long term tie it to, and we created this fund. I know it doesn't sound like something, not one of those. You know, you do get a lot of attention, but long term, this act, which is now Act 761 off of Senate Bill 367, it creates the Watershed Restoration and Conservation Fund, working with CPRA and all of the area of, you know, Amite River, and then that hits about 5 different parishes that all the parish presidents showed up on Friday, I think it was, to sign that piece of legislation. You have Iberville, EBR, you know, Livingston, all affected harshly by the water. And so this is going to be one of those things down the road that probably, and we hope, will affect homes and protect businesses and churches and schools as much as anything. And I hope that happens. And Paul Sawyer's a super guy now in the House, but just a super mind, working hard, great guy. I look forward to things we do in the future. That was one, and I wanted to bring that up this morning.
Yeah, look, I can tell you, I've been working with Paul since he was with Congressman Graves, and you know, he's always been very good at you know, chasing a dream, if you will, and having him as the executive director of the ARBC. I sit on that board, and part of the thing that we want to see is, you know, in Central, you've been very good to us and helped us acquire and go after things with your support. And we're bordered by the Amite River along our eastern boundary. And, you know, the 2016 flood was a wake-up call to all of us, if you will, because we learned that, look, if the river's full, the ditches can't drain into it. And so we've been very intentional in Central by digging the ditches and digging and cleaning tertiary canals. I just got a text from one of my contractors this morning out doing hot spots. And, you know, if you don't catch those hot spots every time it rains, they will start to block up. And so we've learned.
Yeah, they do. You know, we've had Mayor, we've had such a shortage of dredging money. And, you know, I've ridden some of the canals and byways and a lot of the bayous over the past 10 years. You have to you got to get on a boat and go down. You were talking about trash, for example. We've got trees down. We've got boats that people let flip upside down and blocked waterways. I mean, you've got all kinds of issues. Then the silt, of course, is a huge issue. Well, as you know, the commission is working on every one of those issues and trying to deal with that to keep water moving, because it's going to move. It's going to get there. It's going to find relief.
It's going to find its outlet.
No doubt. It's powerful. So anyway, this is just one of those that I think will help some.
Yeah, and look, the commission has always, you know, their mindset is we just manage this. But when Paul got involved, we realized that, look, the commission can take the lead and assist with getting projects delivered. We can do the engineering, we can do the studies, you know, because many of the municipalities along that river may not have the resources. And so the new mindset, the new model for the commission is let's do the work. And so Paul and I will discuss a lot of that later. He's coming on the show at the end of the show.
Oh, good.
Let's talk about the maps, or if you have any other legislation you want to talk about, but then I want to get into the maps. And
I do want to mention one more that I think is amazing, is that I passed a career realignment bill that basically is going to restructure what a student does when they walk into one of our colleges, our technical schools, our universities, in that, you know, for so long we've sort of sidestepped a lot of the career abilities that the kids have when they get out of high school, or even when they're in high school. You know, it could be a plumber, a welder, electrician, great jobs now with about $100 billion boom coming into every quarter of the state of Louisiana. So now when a student, the idea is when a student goes into one of our universities or technical schools, they'll be guided just like they were on a path for graduation. They'll be guided and given direction on the kind of jobs that are available in Louisiana, kind of careers that they could get degrees or credentialing for, and put those kids, as soon as they get out of school, they'll be getting great jobs in Louisiana. This $100 billion boom is going to be amazing, and is already. We're seeing people come in and move back into Louisiana. Or what I wanted to see, Wade, was I looked up, and we were having 40% of a college graduate, let's just say, in Louisiana, 40% of them were leaving as soon as they graduated. And I looked up about 2 years ago and said, we got to do something. That's just not going to work. So we're trying to bring that number down by saying, here's a great job. We can't make a student go get a degree they want to get. I mean, if you want to get a sociology degree, for example, I'm not picking on that, but I just picked one out of the hat. But there's no career path for it. Well, they can still go do that. But what if you tell a student up front, man, here is engineering quarter, get this degree, or here is a medical quarter, get this degree. And they go get those degrees, great jobs available the day they graduate. So we're working with every college president and university leader to make that happen on our campuses, and that the governor signed that, and I think it's going to be a long-term great effect for our higher education and technical schools.
That's tremendous. Look, we're going to take a quick break, Senator, and we're going to come back and talk about the maps. So if you don't mind, can you stay on the line?
Sure, I'll be right here for you.
Thank you, sir.
Guarantee Health Solutions, guaranteehealth.com is the website, guaranteehealth.com. If you own a medical office, a medical practice, if you work in the office at a medical practice, you need guaranteehealth.com. Here's what this is. This is a way to grow your business the right way. This is a way to grow your business with a patient-first mentality. This all started when owner and founder Rachel Fricke went through basically a tragedy in her own family, and the medical end of it was sterile. It was transactional. It was devoid of human touch. Rachel said there's got to be a better way. So she's adopted a more hospitable approach, built out pillars to build your business, and it is effective, y'all. Guarantee Health is growing nationwide right now by taking care of your patients first. If you want to learn more about how they do things, give them a look. GuaranteeHealth.com. GuaranteeHealth.com. Whether you talk about an urgent care or a dentist office or anywhere in between, GuaranteeHealth.com.
All right, so we live on Facebook, Wyatt.
All right.
We got the Facebook world tuned in.
Elizabeth says Central has some of the best roads in EBR Parish.
Well, I can tell you got to actually go hunt for a pothole in Central.
Good.
Yeah.
We got them all over Baton Rouge.
Yeah, you got to actually go look for them. When I got elected, you had to dodge them. We put together a pothole patrol and got after it. And then we've been replacing between 11 and 14 miles of roads every year.
You got to look for a pothole.
Yeah.
What time did this start?
6 o'clock.
Oh, 6 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, I've been here. I stayed tonight, bro. 'Cause
Pretty much.
I didn't want to miss my wake-up call. Yeah, I drank coffee out of my salad station soup
Oh,
cup.
wow.
I
Wow.
have coffee mugs downstairs.
She just said that 10 times. I still ain't got a mug.
I know I've been saying that the whole show. It gets the job done.
Yeah, look, it worked.
You
I
need
mean,
another one? You want me
no, I'm
to- 'cause I
good.
can make a pot downstairs.
No, I'm fine.
Well, how much longer you got to go though?
I get off at 9.
Oh, you might need another pot. Yeah, you
No,
might
I'm
not. You
good.
might need
We're
another
actually
pot.
rolling through it pretty good.
I know nothing, bro.
Yeah, that's good.
I know.
Brandon Holly here.
Yeah, right?
I love me some Brandon Holly.
What you say at the end? We do gutters too.
Good morning from the 180 Pros studio. You've got Mayor Wade Evans sitting in for Brian Haldane. This is Mornings Without Brian Haldane, and yours truly is happy to be here. We're going to go back to Senator Rick Edmonds to talk about some legislative updates and the maps. And so going right in, Senator, you still with me?
I'm still with you.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
All right, so the congressional maps.
Yep.
Lots of talk, lots of discussion around the water cooler with that. Where do we stand? What is it looking like?
All right, so let's just do a little backdrop here. You know, there was a set of maps that were found. Actually, it started with what I consider judicial overreach by Shelley Dickens, a local judge that threw the original several years ago into a tailspin, and ultimately she threatened to throw those maps out and to draw her own maps. So the legislature redrew some new maps. Long term, just about a month ago, those were found unconstitutional by the United States Supreme Court. When that occurred, Governor Landry suspended the congressional elections because you could have elected, 6 members of Congress that could have all had suits filed against them for being ineligible. And I won't go into more time because we just don't have any more time. But that's caused the legislature now to redraw the maps. And so now they are back very similar to what was done a couple of years ago. There's 6 congressional districts, and 5 of them now will be in across the state. 2 of them are open, and 1 of them will be more than likely will be elected to the majority-minority district. So that makes up your 6. And so that's sort of, you're going to probably see that brought into court again, but I expect the courts to deal with it very quickly, and that should put us back in line for an election for people to requalify in August, and then to hold the election in November 3rd. And that we should be on time for all of that to occur. So everybody hold your breath, but we should be back in line to make certain that our congressional seats are filled by the end of the year so people can take office in January of 2027.
Where does that leave my citizens in Central? When they redid those maps, we became Congressional District 5.
Correct.
And they picked up along the Comite River to the west and picked up all of Central.
Yep.
And so where does that put the city of Central in the new maps?
Yep. So the new maps now go back to a very similar map, which means all of East Baton Rouge Parish, almost all of it. There's a small portion that goes to another district, but almost all of East Baton Rouge Parish, all of Livingston Parish, and all of Ascension Parish on what would be the east side of the Mississippi River make up the majority of District 6 now, which is the way that it was when Garrett Graves was your congressman. Of the district, Mayor, each district is divided up to about 776,000 in population. Those 3 parishes will make about 554,000 of the 776. So that's a very strong, I fought for a very strong metro Baton Rouge area, which would include most of Ascension Parish, almost all of EBR, and Central and Zachary, and then all of Livingston Parish. There was a couple of maps drawn that would have split Livingston. We fought hard to make certain that didn't happen. And so I think we've got, for the Baton Rouge Metro, a very strong map that will give us really great representation.
Well, that's a good thing because I've always felt the old map, it just went way too far. And then you spread your work out, and it's very difficult for a congressman to represent, that many square miles, if you will.
Yeah, this map that was just found unconstitutional, it took just a sliver of Ascension Parish and a piece of Livingston and EBR, not all of it, but good piece of EBR. But it also went all the way north of Monroe, all the way to the state line, and took in all of those rural parishes from here to Ouachita, which is Monroe. And the congressman that had to cover all of that in District 5. Now those people go back north, and you have a more similar District 5 that we're not a part of anymore, and you pick up back south. Much more, I think, connected map. I think you'll be pleased with it.
Yeah, that's great. I've never been a fan of gerrymandering anything unless it makes sense, and gerrymandering maps never made sense as it relates to that. Look, our city, our boundaries are very clear. We've got a river on the west, a river on the east. They come down and make where they meet at their confluence, and then we got a highway as our northern border, and that makes sense.
I think when we resettle, I think it's going to be something we're very familiar with. You take, for example, you're talking about Central. When you jump over to Livingston, you're talking about Denham Springs and Walker. Well, all of that now is together again, and then you pull all the south part all the way to Gonzales and all. So it's just a real similar to what we're used to serving in. Now, it does go across the Mississippi River, which it did before, and it picks up West Baton Rouge, which would be and Point Coupee, which is new roads, and across, of course, you go down to Plaquemine, keep going all the way down to Thibodaux. That's the side. It's about 100,000 people, or a little over 100,000, live on that side of the river. But they were used to serving in that congressional district. they just go back to almost the way that it's been for a long period of time.
So, in closing, we got about a minute and a half. We've got, I know I've seen some Edmunds signs for Congress. Does that mean you're still running?
Yes, sir. I'm now, and all I do is change numbers. I was never going to run outside of my district. I was running in District 5 because that's my home. That was the district. It was the way it was designed. Now that map's been thrown out and the new map goes back to 6, I live in 6. I'm not running out. Somebody asked me last week, Wade, they said, hey, why don't you just keep running in 5? You can run up in that Monroe district. I said, I don't live in District 5. I live in District 6.
Amen.
I'm going to run. I'm going to run in the district I live in. I'm going to run in the district that I've served for the past 11 years. I know this district. I love serving it. It's one of the greatest honors I've ever had in my life, and I think you know how much I love it. I mean, it is I get up and go to work every day, and I'm as happy as I can be. And Mayor, in 11 years, God's given me great health and a great wife to work. I have not missed one day since I've been a state senator or when I was in the House for a state representative. I've not missed one day to push that button to be involved in our state government to try to make it better.
Well, it takes all of us, from my council to me as the mayor, to our state rep, our state senators, to our Congress people, and our senators in Washington to work together. And look, I think you're going to do a great job no matter where you end up. I've enjoyed working with you. And so I just want to thank you for your time this morning. I want to give you a chance to share some of the updates. And
I appreciate it. And look, man, we got a lot of work to do. Central's a great place, and so is the rest of this district. And we're going to keep on working hard. Thanks for the great work in Central. Central's awesome. It's just one piece of mine, but I love getting to work with each one of you guys. I hope y'all have a phenomenal week, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Senator. Have a great day. Sorry about that. Is there grass out there?
Who else is coming up next?
I got Dave Freneau.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the Sullivan Theater and what they're doing in Central. And, I'm a big fan of the arts. With Main Street 2030, I want to see community sculptures. I want to see a art wall for kids to, go paint on and let it be something special.
Let's do it.
And so it starts with the theater. I mean, any arts. Look, I was at Bayou Apparel's new location, and Gracie Boudreau is working there. And Gracie is one of our great assets. She's an artsy fartsy person. I'm a bit of an artsy fartsy guy myself. I don't look like it.
Well, you are wearing a pink shirt.
When I was at LSU for landscape architecture, I always told them I was the burly guy with the queer eye, because there's elements of design that matter. Things have to be appealing and pleasing to the eye. One of the things when I got elected, I would talk about the Fibonacci curves, and I said, look, we're all different Fibonacci curves, but where our curves cross, we have to work together, because that's how we multiply our resources.
And some new words. Wait, I got to go learn those words.
Like, I used to read Reader's Digest before we had phones. I had a subscription when I was in the insurance business.
Wow.
And the Reader's Digest had a section, 20 words. It was new words, and I would always try to learn and integrate them.
Why are you so smart? Reader's Digest.
That was a good storybook. Look, a lot of, and Wyatt, I'm sure you'll touch on this. I mean, we control our own destiny from our thoughts.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like we allow what we process, and we allow what we take in, and we can either let it go back out because it's not useful, or we can hang on to it, and then it becomes us. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
Sure. I've gotten off of Facebook because of the nonsense. Like, I know me, I know my truth, but somebody who don't know me opining about me, it's none of my business.
That's another new word I got to go learn. I got to go learn it. I try to get off of Facebook every week.
It's a challenge,
it just
huh?
seems
It,
That's where everybody is, and so how do we spread? You know, we don't have the newspaper like we used to.
Yeah.
To go list things. You know, one of the first businesses I ever bought, I bought it from the classifieds. I mean, I would buy the classifieds and read it right outside of a little cafe on LSU's campus. And I'd look at the classifieds. I'd look for land for sale. I'd look to see other listings that were being advertised. And then I found a daycare for sale.
wow.
And, I mean, but what's the classifieds now, you know?
That's how I got my insurance. Oh, yeah, we still pay them a lot to run public notices.
It's not the
Yes.
same anymore, though.
No.
You know, nobody's, I mean, who's reading that?
My,
People would sell dogs, boats.
Everything.
look,
Lawnmowers?
I had Harold Lloyd was the manager at the Acme Refrigeration in Gonzales, and my trade is air conditioner refrigeration. And so when I was 17, I got out of Votech because I had got a GED in high school. I was too cool for school, and my mom made me go to Votech or she was going to kick me out. So at 16, I went to Baton Rouge Votech, and became an air conditioning man. Started doing AC work. Well, back then there was the shopper, and you could run an ad in the shopper for free if it was under $1,000. And so Harold Lloyd played a joke on me at the store that day. It was a Friday, so I called the shopper and put an ad for 10 free goats, and put his
Phone number?
phone number. And I called him the next Monday and said, "Hey, you got any of them goats left?" He's like, "Dude, my answering service was full all weekend
I
because of
bet
that
so.
nonsense."
You are foul. You are foul.
Flash flooding, not in Central. I'm telling you, one of my contractors sent me a text this morning.
Brian?
He was pulling debris out of one of our hot spots.
Oh, Lord.
I need 60 seconds to tell you about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is the website. If you are wondering who Industry Makes is, I'm happy to tell you. Industry Makes is a campaign born out of collaboration and a need to present a united industrial front in the face of coordinated anti-industrial messaging. At Industry Makes, they understand that anti-industrial messages might target one company or they might target several, but it's a hit to the whole industry. So who's speaking up on industry's behalf? The folks in industry themselves, they're busy working. They're busy making the products that the world uses. They're busy employing our neighbors. So who's speaking up on their behalf? IndustryMakes.org is speaking up on their behalf. If you want to learn more, if you want to become an ambassador, if you want to do a little bit of myth busting, IndustryMakes.org. Let others make noise. We'll make everything else.
Good morning, South Louisiana. Here from the 180 Pros studio is Mayor Wade Evans hosting Mornings Without Brian Haldane. We've got looks like the temperature is staying pretty steady. Must be the cloud cover. It's 75 and very humid outside. You're going to have pockets of showers all day. It's going to be rainy all week. This segment and the next segment, we've got a friend of mine from the great city of Central. His name is Wyatt Graves. Wyatt is a guy, there are certain people in your life that are bucket fillers, and Wyatt is definitely a bucket filler. And if you ever get a chance to meet him, take the time, get to talk to him, because it could change your outlook and it could change your future. Good morning, Wyatt.
Good morning.
Look, I've always admired when you talk. There's a story you tell about a book. I can't remember the book because I didn't read it, but about a lady, a nurse who compiled thoughts from people who were at their ultimate demise, and it stuck with me back when I first heard it. And while I didn't read the book, I made a decision to not have any regrets.
Yeah.
And in politics, you get it right most of the time, and that's a win. We don't always get it right, but I think one of the things that's allowed us to be very successful is we're not scared to make hard decisions.
Sure.
And so just want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Wyatt Graves here. That book you're talking about is actually Bronnie Ware, and she was a hospice nurse. And what she discovered after interviewing all of her patients for 5 years is that at the end of their life, she asked them if they had any regrets. And then she compiled those answers, and at the end, she rated them. And she discovered that the number one regret of the people who were near death is that they had wished they had lived the life that they wanted to live, as opposed to the life that they thought others expected them to live.
Well, that's let me tell you something. As a guy, I'm 51 and I'm going through some things right now because I made a decision that I wanted to live the life I wanted to live. And look, it gets uncomfortable. It takes courage to do things that upset the apple cart, but we continue to move forward and just try to make the best decisions as we can.
Sure, and I think, people say all the time when they approach a decision with fear, it's not that you're trying to get to a place where you don't have fear in moving forward. It's a place where you recognize the fear and move forward anyway, and that's courage.
Yeah, look, and that courage, it's a lot tougher because of the obligations and everything else we're dealing with. Tell me a little bit about how you help individuals live their dreams.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think I have I've been trying to figure that out myself for a long time, and I like to tell people that, a long time ago somebody said that to learn something is to teach it, and I've got big goals, so I've got a lot to learn. Amen. So I started teaching. And I'm just a learner, right? And so when I help people achieve their goals, it starts with, well, what are they, right? What are they? And it's just a simple question. If you fast forward and go in a time machine and play the tape forward, 10 years from now, you'll be 61 years old. I'll be 55, right? How old will my kids be? Right. Where might they live? What do I want my life to look like at that time? Do I want freedom to go travel wherever they might live? Right? Do I want to be in debt? Do I still want to be able to bend over and tie my shoes?
Yes.
Right? What does that life look like? And most people are walking around on autopilot, right? They are stuck in a routine, stuck in rituals that really demonstrate an old version of who they were. And so we're not stopping enough to just think about what success or my future might look like if I chose what it looked like. And then once we get that vision, we just reverse engineer, right? And that directs our paths forward instead of everything that we've been doing pushing us in a direction that we might not appreciate in 10 years from now.
Yeah, look, one of our earlier guests was Secretary Glenn Leday, and it's something I deal with in Central. We govern for today, but we have to plan for the future. And one of the loudest talking points you hear is we don't want change, but unfortunately, everything around us changes. Our face, our lines on our face, the asphalt that we put down today starts to degrade tomorrow. Everything changes, and to keep something statically the same is very expensive. To keep a plant from growing, you have to maintain it or treat it with growth retardants and regulators, and that's expensive. And so the easiest thing to understand is that change will happen. How do we control the change?
Sure. Well, the thing is, most people don't want change, and that's fine. I'm with them, right? Change is hard.
Right.
But the reality is that change is going to happen. There was a study done by a Harvard professor a long time ago, and they asked a lot of people, I don't know the sample size, right? But they said, how different is your life today than it was 10 years ago? And everybody came to the table and said, wow, it is so different. My physical health is different. My relationships are different. Sometimes the music that I listen to, the genre is different. They recognized that their life was significantly different than it was 10 years ago. Right. And then he asked a follow-up question, and he said, it was Daniel Gilbert that did the study. He said, how much different do you think your life is going to be in 10 years from now? And overwhelmingly, people said not that different. But yet they recognized that it was so different than 10 years ago. So the reality is that things are going to change. One relationship, right, can change everything. One health scare can change in an instant, right? And so we know that change is going to happen. So that's not the question. The question is, how do we want to direct it?
Yeah, and mitigate it. I mean, look, change, it has pros and cons. And so how do we mitigate the cons of the change and embrace the fact that it's going to happen? In a city, managing and governing a city, many of the decisions I'm making as it relates to our future are not about me. They're not about you. They're not about the generation ahead of us, but it's for the ones that are behind us. And so, I wrestle with that because many of my loudest critics are those who've been there for a few years and they don't want to see change. However, in many ways, if they weren't born there, they moved there. And guess what? They changed my city.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah, and so they're part of the change, but then they don't want more change. And
Sure.
so, the reality is you have kids, I have kids, and unless my kids are going to live with me, which would require me to change the law to say 5 or 6 families can live in one house, we have to have places for our kids to live or they
Sure.
move off.
That's right.
And so while we want our kids to expand their horizons and possibly move off, we also want them to have a place that can be home if that's where they choose.
Sure.
And so that's one of the goals I have. One of the things I've always admired about you is you haven't ever really been scared to take a chance. You've got a wonderful business at the daycare in Central. You've got the real estate thing going. You help people become real estate investors, which is something that's an amazing thing to help people who want to make a better lot for themselves. And you've always been there to do that. Share a little bit about all your different things that you have going on and how you're helping people change their life.
Well, I thought you were going to go in the direction of my co-living house that we've done, right?
that-
Because I'd love to bring one of those to Central as well if we can make that happen. It starts with asking people to go out into the future and get clear on what they're after, right? And then reverse engineer that. Most people, they need money to live, right? And so we've got to get a job. And so when it comes time to a job, what is the kind of job that you're good at, that you enjoy, and that brings value to other people? We help people answer those questions so that they can go and present themselves as true talent to employers. We help connect them to the resources necessary to train them on the skill so that they can go and provide great value to their employers. We provide in the city of Central, we've got Fundamentals Early Learning Center. We opened that school in 2013, and man, that's just been one of my favorite endeavors ever. I love being able to see those kids and see those parents. As you know, we just bought the building next door, moved our headquarters there, and there is very little that compares to the sound and the sights of that school bus driving up to that school and dropping those kids off and hearing those kids laughing and giggling, and then you see somebody else walking down the sidewalk with their dog, and the kids run to the fence and they want to pet the dog, right? And the neighbor speaks to the kids, and it's just such a great example of community. But daycare, jobs, real estate investments, right? Building retirement, we're having all of those conversations.
The co-living, thing, we're not going to have enough time to get it in this segment, but we're going to come back after break and talk about it because it's very unique. On the surface, it's very unique, but it's so practical for people who need a place, who want their own space, but also don't want to be alone.
Right.
And so the co-living thing, your first one was in Walker. It was a converted senior living center, and it's, I remember when it was opened, we were all there, and so it's been a great success. And it would be wonderful because one of the problems we have is the cost to enter the market of being on your own is very expensive.
That's right.
And especially in Central. And I don't want to see us cheapen our city by building cheap real estate.
Sure.
I want to make it valuable real estate, and I want people to be able to afford to be there. But you have to have entry options for those people. And so the co-living thing is something we're going to talk about in the next segment. We're going to go into that. We'll go into some of your coaching that you do as far as helping people who want to become real estate investors. There are plenty of people who know what they want or they think they know, but they don't know where to start. And that's something that that is good to know and maybe be able to help people out. And we'll share your number if you want to give it out to people who are interested when the time comes. Right now, we're going to go into break, and we'll come back with Wyatt Graves, my friend who's a leadership guru.
Producer Bree Lynn here, Talk 107.3. Do not forget the new season of Louisiana Business Weekly is here. Join host Brian Haldane. He will be back on Friday in the host chair. But as he sits down with business owners, sharing their journeys, the successes, the setbacks, and the lessons learned, it's all brought to you by Currency Bank, the bank for business. You can stream and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more, or listen anytime at talk1073.com. This is Mornings without Brian Haldane. You have Mayor Wade Evans sitting in. I'm going to give you a heads up. Tomorrow, it's going to be quite the treat. We are going to have attorney Franz Borkhardt sitting in for hosting duties. Thursday, we're going to have Haggai Davis holding things down and hosting in Brian's absence. Brian Haldane will be back on Friday, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a Foodie Friday on Friday. So we are doing hosting duties all week long. Big old thank you again yesterday for Betsy Bournes holding things down.
I mean, me and Damon Butler were at the St. Alphonsus Fair, drunk. He's like, "Bro, you ought to run for council at large."
Oh, he was involved in that at some point.
Yes,
sure was.
yes.
I forgot about
and,
that.
You know, and look, he's still my friend. I love Damon. You know, look, life takes crazy turns. And one of the things I was talking to some family at Christmas, they were talking about the Michigan coach. I'm like, listen, I will never judge something from another man's home because you never know what goes on in that home.
Oh, but when that story broke, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'll never judge somebody. All right, answer the door.
Somebody must have let him in. I don't see nobody.
How long was this break? 5 minutes? Oh, there he is right there.
I know. We must be having people
Good morning.
in there, letting people in.
What's up, Dave?
I'm good.
We got a few minutes. We're going to finish up with Wyatt, and then we'll get you on.
I know I have the little screen here, but people must be letting people in down there.
I got let in.
Oh, okay.
Buzzing a couple times, nobody answered.
Yeah. I mean, this shows just we're deep into it. Breland can't even pay attention to the camera.
I know, right? I'm just like focused.
What we got? How long is this break?
Kim says, yes, Wyatt, hearing those kids playing is better than a wind chime.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so good.
Look, kids laughing. I mean, it's therapeutic.
What reminds us of what we're all in this for.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do
Right.
is just have a little peace and fun and happiness.
Make
Play
a
little bit.
Make a difference.
That's
enjoy
right.
the
Just
laughter.
play a little bit.
When I was a kid, my mama used to stick me out, so she would lock the back door. And she's like, you ain't coming in. You
Oh
play
yeah.
outside.
And my grandma mopped the house every day. I never in my life. I just mop these floors. Get out this house.
I know, I was like, well, Mama, I want water. So you know what she did? She opened up the back door, bottle of water, shut the lock.
Well, you did better than us. We had to learn to let the water hose run until the water
Yeah.
temperature changed.
Yeah.
If you let the temperature change, it no longer tastes like the rubber hose.
I kind of liked it fresh out the hose, though. That first initial, I kind of liked the.
Ooh, it's hot right
I
out.
kind of liked that
I know,
warm water.
I know, burning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of liked it. Quenched my thirst better than the cold water.
I have friends who drink tepid water. We go to dinner and they're like, "I'll have a glass of tepid water." I'm like, "What?" Tepid.
This
Just
is
room
all
temperature.
fancy words today. That's the third word I got to go look up.
I'm duping the
Tepid?
smartest guy I know.
Tepid?
Well, I
Tepid.
should say the smartest guy I know is sitting over there in that chair.
Yeah, God, dog.
No,
I need to
was
go
able
get
to
mine.
I got that in the 11th grade because I was smart enough to go get it. Yeah. I didn't have time for high school.
You
I
know,
called EBR and asked them, how do I go take my GED without my mom knowing? And they said, you got to wait till school lets out in the summer. And so I did and ran over there to the Baker Adult Education Center and told the lady, I'm here to get my GED. She's like, this thing how it works. She said, you got to take a test to even qualify. I'm like, let me do it. So I took the test and she graded it and she said, well, you qualify. You can go take your GED next
Well, I'm
Saturday.
confused on the test. Do you have to pass it or fail it?
No, you got to pass it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a high school readiness test. It's like an exit exam.
Okay. All right.
For you to be able to get out of school early.
Yeah. And so when my diploma came, my friend Heather, now Osborne, was working at the school for the summer, and she's like, your diploma's here. So I went home thinking I was going to show my mom and she was going to be proud. Let me tell you, she come unglued. And you're going to kick me out if I didn't end up in school. Well, Central said you can't come back. You graduated. So,
You can't come back here.
so I had to go to.
That's not why they say you can't come back.
Well, I had a pretty good legacy there. I enjoy going to the high school now and working and being a part of that. I do, and I tell them, look, you're one decision away from changing your life, and you got to be mindful of that decision because it could change it for the better or the worse. And almost all of them you can recover from until you can't. And so you just never know which one's going to be the one.
We got traffic, and then we're coming back to you.
All right. So Wyatt, we've got about
I would say we got
5 minutes.
Okay.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
All right.
So ask your best question.
Yeah, there you go. You know, it could be we just gave them the lead in on the co-living. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, I want to
new
talk about co-living
innovative
and,
concept, and
then
it
I'm
creates
gonna
community.
Ask
And
you about your legacy.
okay,
What do you hope your legacy to
yeah, tepid.
Tepid.
We're gonna have to go look it up. Tepid.
Yeah, temper. I thought it's temper.
No,
No,
it's
tempered.
Tempered is something that's been heat treated.
Right.
I got so much useless knowledge. Blow the whistle, baby. It's the 180 Pros studio. We got Wade Evans in studio for Mornings Without Brian Haldane. We finishing up with Wyatt Graves. We ended with co-living. I want to give Wyatt a chance to talk about co-living and what he's done out in Walker and the opportunity it presents for people who are looking for a place but don't have the money for their own home and don't want to live alone.
Yeah, it's private pay, affordable living, right? There's no state subsidies here, and basically it is a $1 million mansion. It is a gorgeous house, almost 6,000 square feet. We've got 2 beautiful kitchens in it, a living room, a library, and 11 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms with a half bath, right? So it's basically like a boutique hotel. And the people that live there rent a private suite, so they get their own bathroom, their own bedroom, just like in a hotel, and they share the kitchen, the den, the library, right? And the rent starts at $850 a month, and that is all inclusive. All utilities, internet, YouTube TV, weekly maid service in the main areas of the house. The only thing you're paying for is food. And a lot of times, because of the community aspect of this, they share their food, right? They'll have one person that'll cook or 2 people that'll cook, and everybody partakes in it, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful situation for affordable living.
Well, and it's not just that. You have, it runs the gamut. You may have a 21-year-old college student and a
for sure.
70-year-old widower, and it gives people an opportunity to network and fellowship with other humans. So they don't have that alone feeling, and it also gives them their own space, which is unique in the co-living mindset. And look, when you told me about it, I was blown away thinking, who would live like that? And then you realize there are people who would live like that.
Yeah, and look, I've been over there to visit with them because I'm genuinely interested to know how are they doing this, right? We started out with an age requirement, have to be 55 and older, and really didn't get much traction. When we lifted the age requirement, we had a 21-year-old female, and then we had a 77-year-old female, and then we had a 35-year-old divorced male, and then we had an Asian move in. And so we've got every race, every age. The young people look to the older people as mentors. The older people has got the younger people helping them with their cell phones, keeping them active. It has turned into being a really beautiful.
It's like a sociology experiment.
It's kind of like church to me,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it is meeting the whole needs of community.
Wyatt, we've got 1 minute left. What is when you think about your legacy as a business leader, what impact do you hope to leave on your employees, your partners, and your community?
Oh, man. I think first and foremost, it's inspiration to live their life, right? It is empower them to live with courage, to encourage them to go out, be bold, make decisions that really suit them and what they want in life. It goes back to what we started at the top of the show, the Bronny Ware, right? Just empowering people to live with courage and to live the life that they want to live.
Yeah, I think the main thing is when we look at ourselves and where we want to be, what you touched on earlier is figure out where you want to be and then reverse engineer it to get
That's
there.
right.
And so it's part of growth. It's not only spiritual growth, but physical and emotional growth. So Wyatt, thank you for your time. Coming up, we've got.
All right.
It's all good. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
Yep.
What's this organization?
Just me.
No. What's the name of the place?
Which place? So I've got Fundamentals there in Central, and a Kaizen co-working event space, and my real estate brokerage is there, right there next to the daycare. Okay. Oh, and you're talking about the co-living place. That's Sunset Village in Walker.
Okay.
Used to be Southern Pines, Buster Quirk, who just built the nursing home in Central not too long ago. This was an assisted living that he owned in the 90s. Brand new, built it. And
Called Southern.
it was called Southern Pines, right by Walmart.
Now it's
Sunset Village.
Okay.
Sunset Village. But we bought it and then closed the, they wouldn't let us carry on the assisted living part. So we converted the big house to residential.
Well, good.
Yeah, turned out good.
Dave for now.
Yeah, Wyatt Graves, good to meet you, man. All right, guys, y'all have a good one.
Bye. Have a good day.
Good morning.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm a virgin to radio hosting.
Yeah, but you're doing so good.
Almost like we YouTubed it. Radio shows for dummies.
Radio shows for dummies.
All right. So you got the Red Dragon shirt on.
I do.
Like it.
I do.
I like it. So I just, want to talk about the arts. I'll just kind of give a brief history of how our relationship developed over time.
Don't tell them about the first 2 years.
Look, Dave, you and I have, I admire you. I think I've already expressed that in time. Hey, you're doing this day in history, right?
We can skip it if you want.
Well, it's up to you.
I say let's go ahead and skip it.
All right. So you're going to have 25 minutes, Dave, to talk about all the things
We
you
can
got.
talk all you'd like.
I wasn't ready to do this day, so that's why.
No, that's good. Yeah, we ain't done top stores or nothing.
Nope, we don't give a damn.
No. Look, if it ain't affecting you, you don't need to know about it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we crept up to 76.
Now, is this a cold front or is that low pressure system that's coming our way? I think it's a low pressure system.
Yeah, because looking at the temperatures, it don't look like a cool front.
Because my mama said cold front. I said, Mama, it ain't gonna get cold.
I don't know. I'm not paid to do the weather here.
No, I wish I was, because you don't have to be right much.
No.
How long we got till we go on?
3-ish minutes.
Let me take this call. Tell delivery. Hold on just a sec.
Sure, thank you.
Dave's working over here.
No, my dispatcher's late, so
He's got a final mile delivery. Is that what you would classify it as?
yeah, pretty much. Strategic parts location.
Yeah, so back when I was in the air conditioning business, we may have to fly a part in, and you'd have to go to the airport to get it because it flew on a commercial airline.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, they would ship it like on a commercial airline.
Signed for by Kelly Fannin, Fannin at 8
That's
o'clock.
crazy.
Logistics, man.
And you really wouldn't know what's on the
Kelly Fannin, Kelly Fannin, Fannin
Now
at 8
it's
o'clock.
crazy. I mean, the technology. And it's all
Yes.
AI.
Amazon now you can see 2 stops away, 3 stops away.
Right. Thank you.
They got the GPSs on their trucks.
Yeah.
No, it's impressive.
Look, you can pull it for you if you want, so
Yeah.
you don't have to lean.
Yeah, you can
I'm
make
good.
yourself at home
I'm good.
in the 180 Pro studio.
I'm not wearing my slippers. I'm gonna make myself at home.
I know, right?
They're right by the front
You
door.
kick your shoes off, Dave. I didn't shave because it's radio. I didn't have to put on makeup or anything.
You don't a face for radio, you know?
That's it. Well, if Haldane can do it.
Shut up. Watch he end the comment.
Yeah. I hope he's still resting if he's on vacation.
That's what I'm saying. Shit, please get some sleep.
Yeah.
He don't sleep. He'll go to bed at like midnight.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know how he does it.
I didn't go to sleep till about 11 last night. 4 o'clock was early. Plowed through 3 cups of coffee, hurried up.
But you just start here.
6. I was here at 5:45
How long do you go today?
to 9. So we're almost done, man. It's actually gone pretty quick.
He's a pro, believe it or not.
He just like to hear himself talk. That's what it boils down to.
Well,
I'm not even kidding.
Well, you know. How do is this my switch to shut him off?
There you go.
That's your call button.
That's
So
your-
if you got a curse, if you got Tourette's, if you got a cough, you
Oh.
just hold that button.
Oh, okay.
I have asymptomatic Tourette's, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Oh
he gets,
God.
mainly when he gets pissed.
No, it's asymptomatic, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
No, I don't have Tourette's.
Good morning, South Louisiana. We rolling into the final hour of the Brian Haldane Show without Brian Haldane. This is Mornings Without Brian Haldane from the 180 Pro studio. I was reading some Facebook comments on one of them rants and raves pages, and looks like there's some people that think I need to start looking for another job. So we're doing a little hosting today, trying to figure out if radio might be our next gig. But nonetheless, I've got my friend and great central citizen here, Dave Freneau. Dave and I, we served on the city council together, and Dave and I withstood an ethics investigation over this theater. It's amazing how long it took for that to work its way through the books and get done. But nonetheless, there was no finding because we didn't do anything unethical. But Dave is a guy who has a passion for art, and he took that passion and helped create something, and he's here to talk about it. So good morning, Dave.
Hey, wait.
I'm so happy that you came on. The Sullivan Theater, I've been to 2 events there. I'm guilty of not being a theater nut, if you will. I do enjoy it, but the Red Dragon listening room thing is exciting. I know we're going to go through all of it, but the big thing is arts in the community. You know, when we talk about government, there's, I say 5 tenets. You've got roads, drainage, police, fire, and then quality of life. And art is a quality of life thing. We know that communities should offer or have opportunities for people to celebrate the things they love. And what you're doing at Sullivan Theater is created a home for artists to share their talent, if you will. So you care to share about what you've got going on over there?
Well, we started 15 years ago. My wife and I figured there's enough art and history and interesting things going on in Central, but no forum for it. And so we formed the Central Cultural Foundation. It's a nonprofit, and invited some arts-minded community leaders to join us on our board. And for about a dozen years, we just had small events in the library space or in the back of a restaurant. And without venue, you really can't celebrate the arts as much as we'd like to. Had the idea about 4 years ago of starting a community theater in Central, because I like to call the community theater, Sullivan Theater, the tail that wags the dog. you can get people to pay money to come see community theater, but not to come to an art gallery and not to come to a history exposition or whatever. So we kicked off Sullivan Theater in 2023, and we're in our 4th season. It does pay the bills modestly. Again, we are a nonprofit with a very active committee or board for the Sullivan Theater itself. We do, at this point, we're doing 9 productions a year. Production can go 2 to 3 weekends, 7 to 11 performances. It ranges, well, I'll get that in a minute, but we also are we like to call it the home of the Red Dragon Listening Room. The Red Dragon, if you know anything about them, been around for about 25 years, presenting folk music concerts. They had a small venue in downtown Baton Rouge and lost that venue, so I approached the owner and said, and it's also a nonprofit, how about hosting your shows at our place? So we're doing that now. We're on about our 5th or 6th show. Matter of fact, here's their merch, Red Dragon Listening Room. A little piggybacking on their reputation because they're a phenomenal place. They even had Joan Baez back in the day perform there. Our next show for Red Dragon is July the 10th. Joe Sims, $20 tickets. We have a capacity of about 130 in our seating. It's a nice evening of folk music, sometimes tending toward country and bluegrass a bit. Mostly original songwriters and a good time.
Well, look, July 10th is the date for that. And if somebody wants to come to that, can they buy tickets online?
SullivanTheater.com. Matter of fact, those tickets go live probably tonight. Everything we talk about here is on SullivanTheater.com. Another thing we do is we have a new youth program. It's called the Sullivan Theater Youth Company, STYC, S-T-Y-C. And they're beginning rehearsals for their 2nd show, which is a musical called Hadestown. Had 86 young people, ages of 12 to 18, show up to audition. Cast 24, I believe.
That's impressive. 86.
I tell you what, there's some talented kids. There's some kids that are going to end up in New York.
That's amazing. So, are there opportunities to grow the venue at the current location, or do you have big goals? I mean, look, I would love to see, as part of our Main Street 2030, at some point, a community theater that could seat, a couple hundred people, maybe 1,500.
Well, obviously, Sullivan Theater is interested in any opportunity like that. Our plan right now is we'd like to own our building at some point. It's a 6,000 square foot building. We'd like to expand it, but that's pie in the sky dreams right now. We're just trying to pay the bills at this point. But yeah, there's opportunities to grow.
I think going back to Wyatt Graves, if we think about where we want to be in 10 years, how do we reverse engineer that? We've got Main Street 2030. One of the things I want to see happen with the flood control project aspect, there will be a lot of pedestrian pathways for people to interact with nature, as well as just get out and do recreational stuff. But have community sculptures and a community art wall, if you will, to maybe the graduating seniors decorated each year, and then we repaint it with a new canvas, and then let the next class do it. But something unique that brings the arts out in our community.
Well, also, I failed to mention, I should have, there's 2 other aspects to the Central Cultural Foundation. One is the Central Grimble Springs Area Society for History. It's a long name. They've been around for 25, 30 years, and they've collected all of the significant documentation and some artifacts, et cetera, over the history of the Central Grimble Springs area. They were housed in in a room off of our lobby at our Sullivan Road location. And the city, Wade, was generous enough to offer us a space in the new city hall. So the History Society folks are there every Friday getting things ready, and hopefully in another month or so we'll be open for the public for tours and for research, et cetera. It's a really nice facility right inside of City Hall.
Yeah, working with Elva Joe Crawford, we've got to do a CEA because I need to help him get some display stuff. But I think it's important to showcase our history, to know where we came from. Central being an unincorporated area for so many years, it was central because of the Central School location. And now City Hall is sitting right where it should on that original site where the original Central School was. And so I think it's important to have that space and allow citizens to showcase and come in and look at that history so they understand why we became what we were. I think the Grimble Springs site is so amazing. I'm so happy the city has taken the initiative to work with Councilman Meyer and Richard Venable to recreate that spring structure hoping we can get the funding. We've got some grant money out there that we're trying to get right now to create a trail system and build the old spring structure back, get the springs flowing, even if it's through a pump system, just to recreate what was there. Lots of exciting things. I'm going to keep you around. We've got a break coming up, but I want to talk about upcoming shows in addition to the Red Dragon thing you have going on, and opportunities people can get involved, because I think with a community theater, there's a lot of people who aren't necessarily plugged in who have the thought, man, I would love to do this, and they don't know how. And so I'd love to be able to collaborate even more with you on the city's website with the Sullivan Theater and showcase those events. We have that community calendar. It'd be nice to be able to put those on our community calendar so the citizens can have multiple places to go look and get to where they go. Because my goal is to not leave Central, except to come host the Brian Haldane Show without Brian Haldane. But look, we've got at Central High School, we've got a studio. We could possibly get Bree Lynn to drive out there and come enjoy some time in the great city of Central. Let's do it. But as we approach our break here, we're going to come back with Dave Freneau from the Sullivan Theater, and we'll finish up. Thank you all. This is Mornings Without Brian Haldane from the 180 Pro Studio, going to break.
Haldane here. Got to remind you about the folks over at ExxonMobil, like you need me to remind you about the folks at ExxonMobil. They've been in our backyard for 115 years. They've been our neighbor for 115 years. The oil and gas industry in Baton Rouge has been the bread and butter of our economy for some time now, not just here, but throughout Louisiana. And ExxonMobil is taking that 115 years worth of experience and looking to the future, not just locally, but globally. And that is going to mean carbon capture and sequestration. ExxonMobil wants to take every resource they have to make sure the next 115 is done safely, which is why, for you, for me, they've created a website called aboutlaccs.com. If you want to learn more about where ExxonMobil is taking carbon capture in the future, hit up aboutlaccs.com. aboutlaccs.com.
Is now. Anyway, that's what we did. That's what we hosted the show.
There was a pizza place there. What was the name of that place? I remember it. The counter was the same as it is now.
Yeah.
Everything's the same.
Yeah.
Sweet rice is good. I love
it. Is. We go there a bunch.
I love me some hot Thai food.
Their pho is pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't know they had pho.
It's not on the menu. You look on the wall. It's on the wall on the left.
Okay. Well, I'll have to do that. I love pho.
Is there an echo in here?
No, she's editing.
I'm editing. So where on the back end, I don't have to do all kind of stuff after I get off the show.
So is this not directly live? It's delayed a bit?
Huh?
This is delayed?
I would say by like 10 seconds,
okay.
5 seconds, not much.
Yeah, that's Facebook.
We're always live on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm glad I behaved myself.
Yeah. Well, one day I was live on Facebook and I said something about working with other agencies about the hybrid model and all that.
Oh, Lord, and you got ripped another one?
Well, no, thankfully not. But, look, the key is good government requires us to say and do things that are uncomfortable to some.
Mark Twain, if you tell the truth, you never have to remember anything. Just say it.
When you ain't got but 2 brain cells, you don't want to have to remember stuff except words like dilatory and perfunctory. I used that with Glenn Leday this morning. And Wyatt, I mean, surely he knew what opine was. And tepid. That's some pretty basic stuff. I don't know what Paul's doing. I saw him come through.
Paul
Sawyer. Yes, so I have. Good morning. Here from the 180 Pros studio is Wade Evans subbing in for Brian Haldane on Mornings Without Brian Haldane. We're going to go back to Dave Freneau here in studio talking about the Sullivan Theater. Dave, what do you think the people who have never attended a performance at the theater would be most surprised to discover?
Oh gosh, I would say last year we had almost 7,000 volunteer hours at the theater between performers and support people, people that build sets, paint sets, do costumes, make props, work front of house, work behind the concessions, the bar, etc. There's so many opportunities. If you say I'm ready, you will be there working. There are people working there today, building trees for the next set. There's just so many opportunities.
The set production, and I'm not a theater guy. I don't know what it's called, but I was always impressed. Every time I went at the sets, as a guy who built cabinets before I got into politics, I was always impressed with the sets. That's a lot of work that goes into it. It's got to be structurally sound. It can't just be pretty.
Yeah.
Because you got to get up there and bounce around and sing and look. That's what I learned about your theatrics and abilities. We were at a Memorial Day presentation, and we were singing "God Bless America," and you were behind me, and I'm like, "Who is this behind me?" I turn around and it's you singing, and I was quite impressed. Matter of fact, when you got off the council, I said, "I don't know if I can believe anything you said for the last 4 years. You're such a good actor."
I do enjoy it. There are people a lot more talented than me. Not many more talented in building sets. That's my venue. I build all of our sets. I have 3 or 4 really, really great volunteers that help out, and I need some more. Had one of them just move on me, and one of them is out on injury. So I need people to help build sets. My wife Mia has a group of people that does the painting. She's our scenic artist, and we like our sets.
Yeah, and the city helped partner with the theater to get the production equipment.
The city is the biggest supporter of the theater to date. We have some pretty significant people, but the city did us a grant. I'd say 2 months after we started production, started to prepare the space, $50,000, which bought us state-of-the-art LED lights and some very good sound equipment. So that put us a year ahead of where we would have been. We would have been renting things and borrowing things and using less quality instruments, etc. The city gave us a big leg up, and the city is now giving us another big leg up.
Well, we believe in the arts, and my administration will always support the arts. Look, from a city standpoint, it's economic development, because typically you're bringing a crowd who may not be in Central. You're bringing people to our city to enjoy our city and showcase what's great about our city, and so the partnership is equitable.
We'll put about 10,000 people in seats over the next 12 months, and 60% of them are not from Central. They live elsewhere. They come here. They spend their tax dollars. They go home. We don't have to educate their kids and maintain their streets.
It's what I talk about.
Exactly. So it's what Wade has always called destination economics, and I believe, you can challenge me, anybody, I believe the Sullivan Theater is the single largest destination economics effort in Central.
Yeah, and look, I've on theater nights when I'm out to dinner. There's often groups that come and eat at the restaurants in Central and then go to the theater, which is a really cool thing.
Well, it even generates restaurant business for those who live in Central, because they look at, okay, this is an entire evening now. I didn't stay home and eat macaroni. I went out to Stabs.
Yeah, and look, so the city can justify helping because of the quality of life aspects, the economic development aspects, and I think it's money well invested in return to our citizens. And again, it goes back to quality of life and arts. Not everybody plays sports, and we all have unique talents. And the goal in life, I think, is to find what your talent is, utilize the tools that God has given you to the best of your abilities. And, that's why I'm doing radio this morning.
Are you interested in keeping me out of trouble?
I try to.
Okay. First of all, the Amite River Preservation Association, which is Richard Venable and his gang, who are redoing the springs, they are also a part of our Central Cultural Foundation. He's a board member, and they are represented as an entity. And the Art League of Central, which has actually been around 20-plus years, a group of 18 to 25 artists, all living in Central. We are the home to their display and their meetings, etc. So there's an art gallery, and there is have their weekly paint-ins and things like that. So we try to look at the entire breadth of the arts and make sure everyone's involved.
And look, to stir my critics up, I always like to talk about murals of myself on buildings. Maybe we could get with them
No, look, I do have fun with the critics. We wake up and we try to do the best we can every day. And look, the cake's too sweet for some. It's the way it is.
Well, right now, I'd like to go back to the youth effort. Right now, this week is 2 week of youth summer camp. They're in day 3 of that, and they do a production at the end of the 2 weeks. It's obviously a summer camp that the parents do pay to enroll their kids, but our stick program is exactly like a fully functioning adult show. You audition, you get callbacks, you do dance call for the dancing musical shows. You are selected or told, hey, try again next time, and your rehearsal routine is 5 nights a week, just like for the other productions. And I'm afraid that the youth production of Hadestown may actually be better than some of the things the adults have been doing. So we're going to find out. But these are some talented kids.
So the camp that you spoke about is going on right now?
Yeah.
Is the attendance well enough to justify second camp later in the summer?
We do a 2 week camp each year, right? We may go to another camp. We've acquired the space next to us. We've rented the old plumbing place next to us is an extra slot. We now have a full-size performance space there, so we can next year consider doing a younger camp and an older camp. But we did this camps last year, and they're very successful.
No, I've met some of the actors, and I've always been impressed with the talent. These people are in our greater Baton Rouge area population, and they shop, they live amongst us, if you will, and they're quite talented to be a part of it.
Well, I'll say that as far as destination economics go, we're rehearsing 5 days a week, 20, 25 people, and they're all eating here, and only about 20% of our actors are actually from Central. So at 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, there's other people coming into town and enjoying Central's amenities.
So for listeners who may be considering getting involved, we'll go back to the website, but whether as a patron, a volunteer, or performer, what would you tell them about becoming part of your organization?
We started the community theater aspect with the idea that I would rather do B-level productions with an A-level community. We are family. They're all friends. They eat together. They socialize together, and you will develop friendships you'll take forever. It's a uniquely embracing and encouraging and accepting place for people just to come spend time.
Looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of Sullivan Theater, and what can audiences look forward to in coming up this year as far as performances?
Well, we're on such a pace. We were doing 6 shows a year, and we're up to 9 this year, and we'll do 10 next year. We are debuting Strings Attached, which is a new musical comedy by Larry Schexnayder from from Center Stage in Gonzales, and the author of Evangeline, Paul Toronto. So this is his first big play since writing Evangeline 20-something years ago, and it's been wildly successful throughout Louisiana. So I'm excited about that. We debut that in October. It's not part of our main season. You'll see the advertising on that starting pretty soon. As far as where we're going, we're on such a trajectory right now with adding 2 additional off-season shows and adding 2 shows for our youth. And we just spent a large amount of money that we raised at our gala early this year, completely redoing the interior space. It's all now blown-in insulation with raised ceilings and changes to the lighting and sound booth. So it's vision. We're on a path right now. There's no vision. We're on it. We're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's similar to how I operate Central. We got a million things going, and we just keep rolling. I think the gala was great. I was fortunate to be one of your co-hosts, and so
you were the assistant host to Sid Edwards.
Yes, of course I was. But we had a lot of fun. We made it a little bit of a theatrical performance.
Oh yes.
As well.
Oh yes.
It was not a snooty event at all. It was quite enjoyable. So I'm glad it was a success. Hopefully we'll get to do that again next year, and that'll be something that people look forward to.
That'll be in January, by the way.
All right, perfect. Nice and comfortable to wear that black tie.
There you go.
It's not too hot. All right, so we got about 2 minutes left, Dave. As far as the theater goes, when you do a production, if you decide, okay, I want to do this play, tell us a little bit about how that goes. Obviously, you can't just
printed out. You've got to buy the rights.
You buy the rights. The rights can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000. Rental tracks of music, etc. You have to get approved for it. It takes about anywhere from 15 minutes to 2 months to get the rights to a play, depending on how popular it is. So we're actually finishing our play reading process for this year to kick off next year, and we'll have a lot of work to do to get that ready.
So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see, not only for production, but just getting it to a point where you can agree this is what we're going to do.
And then the actors have 8 to 12 weeks of commitment to get a show put on the stage.
Yeah, and these are all, I guess, volunteer actors?
All volunteer. The only people paid is some of our technical experts, like our sound designer, our lighting designer, our director.
All right, where are we at?
Well, if you have 1 minute, let me pitch. If you want to sponsor a show, if you're a business out there that wants some good press in Central, we have a number of sponsorship packages. Call us. Our phone number is on the website at sullivantheater.com, and anything you want to know, volunteering, when the shows are, buying tickets, sullivantheater.com, and our phone number is 225-778-8990.
All right, now on Facebook as well?
Yes, Sullivan Theater on Facebook.
All right, that's amazing. Dave, look, it's always enjoyable getting a chance to talk to you about your passion. Obviously, we've shared good government all morning. I wanted to bring you on because I think this is part of the good government mindset of how do we increase the quality of life in our city for our citizens. So thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you do in our community, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we've got Paul Sawyer coming up. He's going to finish out the show with us, the last two segments. We're going to talk about good government. We're going to talk about the Amite River Basin Commission. I'm so happy to showcase some of the things that's happening in Central, some of our organizations that make our community special. And I'm just very appreciative to get a chance to host this morning at the 180 Pros studio. Brian Haldane, Mornings Without Brian Haldane. I'm Wade Evans, the mayor of Central. All right.
Thank you, Wade.
Appreciate it, brother.
It's complimentary to buy a used main drake for the theater.
All right.
We're going to actually have curtains.
Thank you. Hey, look, let's get together to talk about how the city can help promote that on our website.
Please. Michelle is on vacation this week, and she is taking over as our marketing lead.
That's fine.
So anytime starting next Monday.
That's fine. Just have her reach out.
I'll do that.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Where you at, Paul Sawyer?
You ready, Paul?
What up, dude?
Hello, how are you?
That's good.
I say that every time I walk in the studio.
How you doing, brother?
Remember my roots. I'm good, man.
He has to remember his people.
My peeps.
You got to. Look, every vote matters.
It does.
Yeah, the closer you get. Yeah, really. Well, I'm not registered for that party, so they treat me as a closed primary. We had Senator Edmonds on already. He talked about some of the legislation as it relates.
I caught you with Glenn today.
Glenn was on. I had a hot show, baby.
I know. Well, I had to get ready for work and everything, so couldn't
Yeah,
listen to everything.
that's good. I understand. I mean, I don't know if I want to hear me in the shower, anyway.
No.
I'd prefer, like people call them like, hey, I'm naked right now. You know, if you do, I'm hanging up. And we're Facebook Live.
Yeah, I was going to say, get that image out of here.
Well, I mean, you can see my abs a little bit now.
Brian always loves to do that. He'll flex,
Yeah. I mean,
You have lost some
it's
weight.
been years since I've been able to sit like this and see my belt buckle.
You have lost weight.
I have.
Now that you mention
Well, there was a
What?
time he couldn't see his belly because you had a beard all the way down there.
That's
You were-
right.
it. Wait, you have a long beard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn.
ZZ Top. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He had a
You
long
you
beard.
put little charms in there?
My daughters would. Yeah, my daughters would. Those were good times.
Birds
yeah,
and
I look a
woodland
lot
creatures.
different, but I hate shaving still. I can't stand
So
shaving.
if
Yeah.
you had a your way, you would let it grow out.
Yeah, but the lady in my life don't want it to grow out.
Oh, your lady don't
There you go.
want it.
There you go.
So
Keep her happy.
that's it. That's it. Well, when I had my carpentry business, you could store your pencil in it. Because carpenters always have a pencil. So I have caps that all have pencil marks in it
from that, and then
that's why
if
God
I forgot
gave
a cap, I would just put him up here.
That's why God gave us facial hair for storage.
Well, he stopped letting it grow on top for me. And
Lunch?
started letting it grow on the bottom.
Well, yeah,
Mine balanced out.
You can
it
put
still grows.
here. You can put your lunch. You can put
Yeah.
your
Look, if
writing
you gotta
instruments.
Have a chicken bone left, you can stick it in there and pull it out later. Beef jerky, anything that's non-perishable.
Right? Oh my God, non-perishable food items.
You put it in
A Twinkie. There you go. Just roll it in there.
Yeah, those never go bad.
Put you a cigarette.
They never go bad. Well, if you know the old gas stove, if you want to light a cigarette, you got to learn you go in from the side, not the top.
Oh man, that's the truth.
Oh,
Like
goodness.
a mom who's like, anybody got a Band-Aid? Anybody got right here?
Yeah. What you got after this, Bree Lynn? Go back and go to bed?
I'm gonna be working on some creative stuff for Michelle, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go do my shift for Tiger because I'm on 100.7. But it's gonna be a good day, y'all.
Yeah.
Good.
Surprised the barrel-chested brute hadn't been in here. He must be traveling.
Who?
Gordy.
He's not here a whole lot. He's out
Yeah.
socializing. He wants to kind of get out at the radio.
Yeah, I know. I'm
being
aware.
Being more out and going to meetings and
I'm
businesses.
aware.
And selling more radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Guarantee is like the mothership is tremendous. If you look at the sign out front,
Yeah.
they're into everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
the big G.
Yeah,
Kinda
the
like
big
Gordon.
G is
The
into
big
everything.
G.
Yeah. Well, God, don't mention that. He'll sue you.
I know, right?
Guarantee doesn't still own WAFB, does it? No, that's Gray. That's right. That's right.
Channel 2 at one time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Way back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can go back and remember when all this was local. You know what I
Yeah.
want to say?
What'd you do?
I have one of those choppers. Look at that. And I went to grab the. Last time I was like, oh no. And my little boy's like, Mom, are you bleeding? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, just cook it.
Yep. It's like one of those, the choppers. The
Yeah,
fancy,
you ain't
and I
supposed to
went
put your
grab
hand
it.
on it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it tells you don't grab it. Well,
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you gotta listen. Heed the advice. So I get earphones, bro.
You're
can
in
still
control,
get
man.
ball, 'cause I'm gonna do
Middle of the
Yeah. Yeah, I've never. Does Brian do headphones? I don't.
Brian does have
He does that? Yeah.
Every now and again, though, he won't. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever you
Oh, hey, can I
Oh, dog.
get some of that guest water outside?
Yes.
Yeah, go
Good,
ahead.
good,
No, I'm gonna make you stay thirsty.
Well, I'm already. I don't know why I'm already parched.
Well, it's just, and nerves.
I'm gonna do a one bath.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. Who needs one bath and closets? This is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. Listen,
least one.
if you didn't build your home, your bathroom wasn't built for
Sounds like
you.
a Saturday Night Live skit.
If you didn't build your home, your closets weren't built for you. Think about the number of houses in Baton Rouge that are 30 plus years old, 40 plus years old, 50 plus years old. Christy and I, our house was built in 1964. Late last year, we decided to upgrade our master bathroom. That's a Christmas present to each other. And I tell you what, we called David Duvall at 400-8005. We called David Duvall and called on his 30 plus years of experience. Said, what can you do in this space? He worked with us. He collaborated with us. He showed us what was possible. We went to onebathandclosets.com. We scrolled through the galleries, and the finished product was chef's kiss. Magnificent. Perfection. Could not be happier with the way our bathroom came out. And you could be in that same boat. If you didn't build your house wasn't built for you. You could change that at onebathandclosets.com.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. This is Mayor Wade Evans in the 180 Pros studio, kicking off our last 30 minutes of this great morning. I've got an image of Brian in his one bathtub stuck in my head. I'm a little tragic memory there. I should have left my headphones off before this segment started.
God.
But look, this is Wade Evans. We got mornings without Brian Haldane this morning and having a little bit of fun. I read a disclaimer when the show started, so if I stepped on your toes, it's okay. It's only me. It's nobody affiliated with Guarantee Media. Coming up this in this segment, we got Representative Paul Sawyer. Paul, if you don't know him, you're missing out. Paul is somebody I met back in the day when I was on the city council, and he was working for Congressman Garrett Graves. And I learned real quick, if you want something done, Paul's your guy. He knows how to get it done. And now voters in his district are lucky enough to have him as their representative.
Yes, I live in Terra, so Paul is mine.
There you go. Look, I love it. I love it. And to me, the best government is the local, as local as you can get. And so I know Paul worked. I told him when he was running, the key is knocking on every door, and he did that. He worked hard. He got in, and he jumped in drinking from a fire hose because session had already began. He also serves as the executive director of the Amite River Basin Commission, which I am now a commissioner, and trying to take good government to the Amite River Basin Commission and do some good projects. And so this morning we got Paul Sawyer. We're going to welcome you in, Paul. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Spending the last 20 minutes of this day with us. And I want you to share some of your legislative successes. Tell us how it was drinking from that fire hose this first session.
Well, thanks. Look, I really appreciate being here with you, and obviously for the last 10, 15, however long years it's been a joy to work with you. We were talking off mic a little while ago that you and I go back to when your beard could be measured in feet, not centimeters, and so
yeah.
But no, so this was for me. This was a great legislative session. I was elected on March 14th, sworn in on March 24th. Thrown right into the grease. I was only able to, because of House rules, legislative rules, I was only able to introduce 5 bills, and I'm happy to say 5 out of 5 got signed. My 5th one was signed into law yesterday. One bill I want to jump ahead real quick about because there's some looming deadlines on this bill. So a bill that I worked with Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple on, as well as insurance chairs Gabe Furman and Kirk Talbot, is designed to transfer $50 million to the Louisiana Fortify Homes program. And what that is that's a grant program that allows homeowners to receive a $10,000 grant to put a fortified roof on their homes. Fortified roofs make your homes safer, which means it lowers your insurance premiums. The reason I'm throwing that out right now is because the deadline to apply for that grant closes out this week, June 19th, Friday, June 19th. Unfortunately, East Baton Rouge Parish is not one of the participating parishes. It's not eligible, but other parishes in this listener audience can, like Livingston Parish and Ascension Parish, they can. And so, so that deadline is June 19th. $50 million. Actually, in addition to existing funds, it's really $80 million. What we're going to do with this program is more than double the capacity that they've had so far. So this is going to be a really big leap forward on this fortified roof program. And by the way, look, obviously, safer roofs mean safer homes. Everybody wants that. It also means lower insurance premiums. If we're all in the same insurance premium pool, when others' insurance premiums are going down, the rest of us experience a benefit from that. Not as directly as the person who's got the roof, but we also benefit from it. The one that does apply to East Baton Rouge Parish, as well as to the other parishes in the state, is the Louisiana Fortified Roof Tax Credit Program. And so the application to get a tax credit for the fortified roof that you put on your home, that expires on June 30th. So June 19th is the grant program. June 30th is the tax credit program. I'm going to be putting information about these two programs on my Facebook page, and I'll also circle back with y'all so listeners can take advantage of both of those programs. But anyway, I wanted to say that first because these are two deadlines.
So the 19th is Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's coming up.
So if you're working with a contractor right now, you have to hurry up and apply.
You have to apply. You have to get estimates. You don't have to have you don't have to have the project underway to qualify. You can apply and you can demonstrate that you're trying to get contractors to give you bids. But
so all of our listeners in Ascension and Livingston definitely need to be looking into this if it's something they're interested in, because look,
it's money that is available to offset your costs. And anytime you can multiply your dollars by using credits or some other form of funding, it's how we've been able to do so much work in Central is by multiplying our dollars through grants. And so I would encourage you, if you're available, to do that.
And I'll just say this, the top 3 issues when I was running back in January, February, March, when I was running, the top 3 issues in our district were crime and traffic and insurance. And just depending on who you spoke to, one of those was the top, but it was consistently those 3. So, I would not qualify this as, my key to insurance reform, but it's a piece.
Yeah.
It is a piece. And so we're going to have to hit singles and doubles. We're going to go for those home runs, but we're going to have to hit singles and doubles along the way. And so anything that I can do to lower insurance costs, whether it's flood, auto, home, whatever, business, I'm going to do everything I can to lower insurance costs.
Well, and look, not knocking my friends who are attorneys, but you are not an attorney, so that's a good vote to possible tort reform at some point in the future, which would be great. I just got T-boned by somebody and totaled out the vehicle. And look, the state minimum coverage now doesn't pay for vehicles.
No,
so
it doesn't.
To me, the state minimum should go up with the value of these vehicles being what it is. And even if, change the proportions, the old 10-20-10, that's 15, 25, 30, or whatever it is. Whatever you got to do to make that property damage go up for the minimum, because it's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, my insurance had to get it, and they're going to subrogate against the other company. But, it shouldn't. It's not my fault. Why in the world do I have to deal with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, one of the things we're going to go into in the next segment, and we'll brief on now, is your role at the Amite River Basin Commission. The ARBC, as we'll call it, has been around for a long time. Their claim to fame, if you will, has always been the Comite Diversion Canal. And what I love about you coming on board and some of the legislative changes that were, or mindset shifts that were made just prior to you coming on board, is how can the ARBC get more involved in delivering projects and getting work done. And so I'm excited to talk about that and what we have coming up with that. I also know you had some legislation you worked with Senator Edmonds and probably Senator Hodges. I know she's always been a big supporter of the Amite River Basin Commission and the like. So if you want to touch on that before we go to break.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, because whether I've got my ARBC hat on or my legislator hat on, I just remind folks that we're commemorating the 10th anniversary of the August 2016 flood, and we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? What have we done to make our community safer, make our lives, homes, businesses safer? And so, you mentioned that legislation. I was very, very excited to work with Senator Edmonds, Senator Hodges, Representative Dixon McMakin to pass legislation that's going to create the first ever funding source for river restoration. So before anybody falls asleep at the wheel listening to river restoration, that is absolutely important. The Amite River Basin, as well as other river systems in the state. Actually, let me say this. In Louisiana, we think of storms because storms come with names. They have hurricanes, they have storm surge, and they flood the coast. But most of our flooding in Louisiana, by far, most of our flooding comes from rivers. And we have almost no strategy or approach to manage riverine flooding. And so what we're doing with this new funding source that I worked with Senator Edmonds on is that we're creating the first funding source ever to deal specifically with riverine flooding, river restoration, specifically on the Amite River. And look, to me, I think this is historic. I've been working around flood protection throughout Louisiana, especially in the Capital Region, for decades. This is the first step. I was really excited that the governor joined us and signed this into law. But you mentioned the Amite River Basin Commission. Just and I don't think I'm going to get an argument here. The ARBC historically has underperformed. We have not fulfilled our mission that the legislature charged us with and what the people expected us to do. The 2016 flood was, I think the last straw. The legislature finally said, look, enough is enough. We had a record flood in 1983. What do we have to show for it? We had a record flood in 2016. What do we have to show for it? And then we've had other isolated events, the rain bomb of 2021. There are other flood, Hurricane Allison or Tropical Storm Allison. There have been other events. And the legislature said, enough is enough. The legislature reinvented us. They reinvented the Amy River Basin Commission. They put parish presidents on the board. The majority of the board is comprised of parish presidents. They have double skin in the game. What excites me about bringing you on board is that we're bringing on board innovators. So Amy River Basin, where our responsibility is flood protection in the Amy River Basin, the capital region. I mentioned that we've underperformed. Meanwhile, there are players like yourself, like the city of Central, that are not just hitting the singles and doubles, but hitting what I call home runs. I mean, you're not just taking flood protection measures, digging out canals and improving drainage in the city of Central, but you're also giving the citizens in the community the tools to understand the risk of weather events and rising floodwaters and what they can do about it. It's a balance
it's
here.
Intentional government is what it is.
It is, and so so what excites me about the recomposition of this board.
Hold that. We're going to carry this to the next.
But I'm
segment.
excited.
No, look, I love it. I love the passion. I love working with you on it. Yeah, good government, baby. That's what it is.
It is.
It's about doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And earning our check, not just getting it.
Yeah.
When I got elected, we had become very much a bureaucratic government in Central. Our public works department, which should have been an innovative department, was staffed with bureaucrats who had retired from EBR.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't innovators. I'm not knocking them, but they were very much status quo. And you can't be status quo.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, there were a lot of good blacksmiths who refused to learn how to fix a tire.
Well,
tire.
I admired when you were on the council, and then also when you became mayor. I admired that you would ride the streets, you would identify the problems, you wouldn't wait for it to be phoned in, and then and you also recognize the trends. Okay, we have a pattern of nonsense here, and you've gone out of your way to try to fix those problems. I mean, I love what you've done.
I'm gonna show you
on the early flows piece.
Look, this is one of my contractors sent me this. They're out this morning. Hotspot. This is hotspot.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah. Look at that. Exactly.
I've been doing this on a routine basis. Yeah, it costs money, but guess what? You don't have backwater flooding.
Yeah.
Like with all this rain we've been having, Central has had no problem.
Yeah.
Like everybody around us is like, oh my God, it's flooding. No, everything's flowing to Central because we are always cleaning the ditch.
That example, okay, that just seems like a very simple, isolated example. But multiply that in all the streams and bayous and creeks in Central. Multiply that by all the streams and bayous and creeks in East Baton Rouge Parish. And what's happening is, you get those clogs, whether that's at a bridge like that or just a few trees falling in the bayou, upstream. That changes the hydrology of the river. The river moves around it, and when the river moves, everything moves with it. It will eat out a riverbank. Yeah, it will. I mean, look, you go to city of Baker for the most part. They have what's, as you know, Baker Canal. Decades ago, somebody came up with the idea that we're going to armor the bayou with 3 inches of concrete, but they didn't do anything to keep the concrete in the ground, and so now it's buckled.
Well,
and
they also didn't know that by doing that you were changing the the resistance.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
then the flow increases dramatically.
Yeah.
Which causes a problem at the outfall.
Absolutely. So, in fact, that's a.
The core is part of our problem. I'm not knocking them, but I'm just saying if they'd get out of the way, we could do so much.
I agree. I think that they have been invited, and they have also barged in to areas that I just don't think that they need. No, they should be. And look, all due respect to the Corps, and I think they would agree with this. They should be managing the Mississippi River. They should be managing the Atchafalaya River. Okay, those are two very, very nationally significant waterways. That should they be in the Amite River? Should they be in Wards Creek? Should they be in Beaver Bayou? No, they should not be there. That has no interest for the United States of America for a branch of the Army to be in Bayou, Baton Rouge Bayou or Beaver Bayou.
Beaver Creek, Blackwater Bayou, any of those tertiary bayous in Central should be off limits to the Corps.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Let me do what I need to do to get the water to the river.
Yeah.
What we got?
Damn ZipRecruiter commercial again. I know.
Well, they pay him.
You know what?
Somebody got to pay the
that
bills around
song
here.
gets stuck in my head every time I hear it.
Brian thought it said, "Try it, please." I said, "No, it's try it free." He's like, "Oh no, shit." We got like 2 minutes. I have to do one of Brian's live reads.
That's fine. So we'll have just a couple minutes to close out. So I'll let you.
You'll probably have like 3 minutes.
Okay.
So you best.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll be able to say this a wrap.
I know, right? I can't believe you didn't break it, Mayor.
We did this. I hope you go home feeling regular today.
I know. Go do your real job after this.
Yeah.
Can I talk about projects? Just what's going on in the Amite River Basin?
Yeah, I'm basically say, look, we got just a couple minutes. Let's go over what kind of projects we got going. We'll go from there.
Okay. Man, Glenn was talking about, Lede was talking about something this morning that, I think is just going to go over so many people's heads because it doesn't translate directly to asphalt and concrete, or at least, mentally. But, he was talking about taking over the environmental work. It is absolutely, and look, if we could do that with the Corps of Engineers, think about Blackwater Bayou and Beaver Bayou, those two, the East Baton Rouge Parish Flood Control Project, $255 million.
Neurojust.com, neurojust.com. If you or someone you know in love is battling with anxiety or depression, let me offer you up something new. Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. Send you there because you're going to wealth of information when you get there. When you're battling anxiety or depression, it's like 6-foot waves crashing around in your head all the time. It's a constant fight or flight, and that's exhausting. And that exhaustion leads you to isolation, and that isolation is just overall loneliness. And therein lies the depression. It all ties in together, and it can be unwound and calm those seas between your ears. Neurojust specializes in TMS therapy. So if you don't like the way the antidepressants make you feel, if the sit-down, talk-it-out therapy doesn't really work for you, think of this as like physical therapy for your brain. And oh, by the way, the team over at Neurojust, they battle to make sure your insurance is picking up the tab. I love telling their story, but I love when they tell their story even more. Visit neurojust.com to learn more. Calm those seas between your ears at Neurojust.
All right, we're finishing up our final segment here in the 180 Pros studio. Mornings without Brian Haldane. I'm Wade Evans, your guest host. I have Paul Sawyer. We got a couple minutes. We're going to finish up. Paul, tell me about some projects that the ARBC's got going on.
Yeah, so, we mentioned earlier how over the years the ARBC has underperformed. We were rebuilt, reconstituted. We're a more efficient machine now. And last year we did a master plan, so we're being very strategic about how we go forward. But what's really important is that we're not waiting for this master plan to just manifest one day. There is approximately $500 million of flood control projects that are going on in the Amite River Basin right now. You've got projects in Ascension Parish, Livingston Parish, St. James Parish. You have multiple projects in Ascension and Livingston. And then you've got, and look, in addition to the $500 million, there are two Corps of Engineers projects, $1.2 billion worth of Corps of Engineers projects taking place in East Baton Rouge Parish. So, so $1.7 billion in flood control, flood protection that's underway right now in the Amite River Basin. I say that because it's important to know that, again, we have underperformed. We are finally trying to get these projects developed so that we can deal with the flood protection problems of the 2016 flood, as well as prepare for what's coming down the pike in the future. I mentioned the deadlines coming up for those fortified roof programs. I mentioned that we've got projects underway. We've got a named storm about to have a named storm in the Gulf. So I also want to mention listeners, please go to getagameplan.org or redstickready.gov. Those are two important ways for people to get prepared, get flood risk ready. And then lastly, Mayor, I'll just say that, having an innovator on the Amite River Basin like you is going to also help transform our organization and bring it into the 21st century.
I'm excited to be a part of it. In Central, we've got about $40 million in flood projects we're working on right now. And so I'm very thankful to be able to share what we know and what we've learned. I think it's important that government work intentionally. I want to thank you all for joining us today. It's been a wonderful Tuesday. We're wrapping this up, and go have a great day and go take care of business.